Welcome to Dungeon Scrawlers. This is your familiar home to role playing games run by and played with some of your favorite authors. Today, we might have some unfamiliar faces in one of your usual spaces. But before we meet everyone, I have two fantastic sponsors I want to tell you about. Both make dice, both are awesome in very different ways. In a realm where most warriors use plastic, light weapons, Norse Foundry specializes in metal dice. When you roll them, it feels like you are skillfully smashing the rigid armor of the monster horde. Norse Foundry offers other cool gaming accessories as well, and you can find their store and more about them at norsefoundry.com. Phoenix Dice is named for the creature that rises from the ashes because they use all recycled materials for all their dice. They are always designing and testing multiple types of recycled materials for your enjoyment, raising dice from the ashes and onwards to epic adventures. You can find their dice and accessories at phoenixdice.com. I am Jason Collins. I am the game master for Quadrilateral, a Star Wars the role playing game limited series actual play here on Dungeon Scrawlers. You can find me online as JL Collins, and I am a published comic book writer, tabletop role playing game designer, and actual play game master. You can find me on Blue Sky at Digital Collins, and the site formerly known as Twitter at digital_Collins. You can also find my bibliography on Linktree at digital_Collins, including the link to my fantasy comic Kickstarter, Thistle Issue 1, which is coming in 2024. I am now very proud to introduce you to my outstanding cast. Take it away, Barnaby.
Hi everyone, my name is Barnaby. I use they them pronouns. You can find me anywhere on the internet at that's_Barnaby. I am a TTRPG illustrator and artist. You can find my work coming up here soon in All the Witches, a queer TTRPG game where I've done several pieces of art and tarot cards.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mara. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on the internet at College of Lore Dropout or Lore Dropout. You can just pick and choose which one, and you'll probably find me eventually. You can also find me writing about D&D and books and queerness on the internet. So if you just look up my name, you can find me, or just go right over to Book Riot, and you'll find most of my stuff there. And I also DM and play on the amazing channel Starlight Tales. So check us out there.
Hi guys, I'm Diana. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me most places on the internet at Sapphic Strigonona or dealing with whatever unholy terrors Mara decides to unleash upon me as a player or a GM over on Starlight Tales as well, or just generally figuring out how to bank as many character points as humanly possible in this game so I can cause problems on purpose.
Hi, everyone. My name is May. I use she, they pronouns. You can find me on most places on the internet as Maybe Mayhem. I am found here as well as on a few different games on Critical Misses.
We are playing Star Wars the role playing game, second edition, revised and expanded. This was published by West End Games, and it is a D6 system that encourages fast paced cinematic play. The title of this series is called Quadrilateral. Quadrilateral is a plane figure having four sides and four angles by definition. Four sides: Republic, Empire, Independent, Jedi. Four angles: peace, order, freedom, justice. Four players, four connections, four stories, one planet. Let's return now to Quadrilateral, a story that takes place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Vilraza. The floor beneath you is smooth, almost polished, like finished metal. But the walls are rough and rocky. The space is almost shaped like an oval. Behind you, darkness. You can't see. But ahead of you, light, sky. And as you step forward and step to the edge of the opening, you can see the bright blue sky in front of you, and far below, the rough cliff face dropping away, ending in the ocean waters. The breeze, the scent of the sea air wafting across your face, and you know you're at peace because it's time to fly. Time to fly. And you step off. And the sea and the rocks below rush towards you, but you don't have any fear. You just know it's time. As it gets closer and closer and closer, and you sit up, bolt up in your bed, drenched not from sea spray and ocean air, but from sweat as you wake up in your homestead.
Ooh.
It is morning. Take a moment, please, and describe Vilra for everyone.
Excuse me. Yeah, Vilra is 19 now. A lovely Iktachi young woman. I would say she has like terracotta colored skin, bald completely. Her horns sort of gently shape her she has like a heart-shaped face, soft gold brown eyes, maybe 5'6". Kind of medium build. She enjoys food, and she's not gonna hide that. Um, uses she, her pronouns, and just is sort of a happy. She was a happy kid, and she's now a happy teen. Um, kind of just wishing there was more to than Salashay. Flying was real in the sense that, like, even on speeders, that'd be nice. Yeah, she kind of sits up, wishes she could go back to the dream world. It's a lot nicer there. But you gotta do chores, you gotta work, you gotta help dad make sure droids don't keep falling apart. So,
Get up, get dressed, head out to the homestead. It's quiet. Dad's done what Dad always does and left early for work, or he may have left in the middle of the night and still isn't back yet. The harvesters that run in the grain fields are massive, 2-story tall automatons that run day and night and are in constant need of maintenance. And they run day and night because the Empire will tolerate no delays. And it is currently 8 years before the Battle of Yavin. When you walk into the homestead, small multi-room apartment above the repair bay, see the kitchen. You can see a sealed container containing food that presumably your father left for you before he left. Light comes in from the windows and the viewport in the door. And in the window, a sill filled with pots that once contained a variety of colorful aromatic plants. Are there still old plants sitting in it, or are the pots empty?
at this point, the pots are empty. I think she tried her best to keep things alive, but she was a kid. She didn't know what she was doing and just figured if you pour a lot of water onto it, that always works. And surprise, it does not. So I think at a certain point, instead of just looking at dead plants, she kind of just cleaned the pots out, and then just put them back. Just want to put them away. She doesn't want to put new plants in.
Get dressed. Have a bite to eat. It's very quiet up here, but the repair bay is never quiet. There's always something happening, always
Oh
something
yeah.
moving, and that's where this is where you sleep. But the repair bay is home.
Mhm.
Get your tool bag. Step outside. There's a small platform just outside the homestead before the stairs that go down the outside of the building on the outside wall of the repair bay leading down to the street. And you can see West Crag, your home, laid out before you. You can hear in the short distance away the fall of the water coming from the waterfall through the cliffs. West Crag lays out before you, 1 and 2 story homesteads. Everything's a little faded, a little rusted, a little corroded. The streets are a little less busy. Fewer people live here now. Fewer families live here now. And in the distance, where once sat 3 metal landing pads, literally bolted into the side of the cliffs. One landing pad is partially collapsed. Some of the metal still there at a steep angle. Other parts of it have just fallen off into the sea. The second landing pad is gone completely. Only one of the jutted struts sticking out of the cliff face still remains as a sign that it was once there. And the third landing pad is still intact. And there's still a crew shuttle, a shuttle bus, sitting on it. A shuttle bus that would take the harvest drivers and the field workers from the settlement out to the grain fields, stretching far above you, 100 meters up, to the top of the cliffs where the grain fields begin. But this shuttle bus, rather than sitting flat on its landing gear, is nose down. Its front landing gear collapsed. The windows, long since having been broken out, weather having gotten inside it, ruined it. It may not even run anymore. But it doesn't matter because the shuttle buses no longer fly to the fields, because the workers are no longer needed for the harvesters, because the Empire has replaced organics who get tired and bored and hungry with unfeeling 2-story automatons that run day and night to harvest the grain to feed the galaxy. Head down the ladder, down to the street level. A few people walk by. Rattling of a droid rolling in the alley next door, and you head inside the bay. You can hear the sounds of tools, arc welders flashing, droids clanking around, and a familiar voice calling out as soon as the door opens and you enter. Rolwara, the Wookiee, is at work already, servicing the load lifter droids that are tasked endlessly with heading up to the top of the cliffs, gathering the huge sheafs of grain that the harvester droids gather, and then stacking and preparing them for the shuttles that will come in to pick them up and take them back to the capital for processing and for further distribution around the galaxy. While your father is tasked with repairing the harvester droids, Rolwara is not given such privileges, but the Wookiee is permitted to continue the work here and ensure that the droids stay upright, stay moving, and stay active. Rolwora's tall, dark brown fur, hair. He's got goggles on as the arc welder flashes, and he barks at you that he cannot find his droid bandolier, his droid tool bandolier that he always has around him. This is not uncommon. He has many bandoliers that he switches depending on what tasks he's on, and he's telling you that he can't find it. And the edge in his voice, the bark, it tells you that he's perturbed. But you know that he has a supply cabinet, and often has bandoliers in there.
I also feel like this is not the first time he has shouted at her that something is missing. Um, and then she's just been like, "Okay, so did you check the last place you put it? You don't recall where that was? Okay." And just like walks over to the cabinet, like kind of digs and is like, "Oh, it's here." And she is saying this all in Wookiee. I'm not going to attempt to make those sounds because,
It's all good.
yeah, let's
And you
just
don't
not good.
you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can speak basic, and Rollroar will understand basic, and Rollroar will speak Shriwook to you, and you will understand what Rollroar says back. Absolutely, because it's a difficult language for non-Wookiees to speak. Absolutely, but
Mm,
you know some words for sure,
yeah.
and it's one of the reasons that, as much as he can be grumpy, he absolutely appreciates your presence. But he's been here for a number of years, and the two of you have the run of the repair bay because your father's away so often. There's
He's
multiple.
like an uncle.
Yeah, absolutely. There's multiple bandoliers, different tools and tasks, different kits that he's got set up. And as you're cycling through them, you actually don't find his droid bandolier toolkit that you're looking for.
Hmm.
But you do see one that you haven't seen for a while in the back, and um, it is adorned with multiple pieces, but they are not tools; they are metals.
Do
And
I
this is
know what it
Roll.
is?
Yeah, this is Rolwora's ceremonial bandolier, denoting his service medals when he fought during the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I think seeing that, it would just kind of hold it a moment. And she's not going to bring it out because I think she, you know, war is unpleasant, and I don't know his. He probably doesn't talk about it too much, or if he does, it's usually not with love in his voice. So
It's
she kind
not
of just
raised.
sort of gently puts it away
Yeah,
with the due respect, but this is not the time or place to bring this out. But we're gonna leave it where it's supposed to be and find the dang droid tool belt that he for sure lost. He misplaced that.
he looks up again from the droid, flips up his goggles, and reaches over with a data pad and shakes that at you and says, "These are the parts that we need. I need a few things as well. We don't have them. We can't requisition them. I need you to go to the salvage yard."
Ugh. Okay. I think she's saying this with like an "Oh, I hate this," and Aaron, but it's like, "Oh, I get to go dig through junk and not actually have to get, you know, covered in grease." Well, I guess it's grease, but
And the salvage
okay.
yard is not here in West Crag. It is out in the fields. It is a long, long walk or a slightly shorter ride. And that means you get to go and see an old friend.
T do. Yeah. Yeah, so once again, it's like an, "Oh, no. Darn. I have to go do this errand. Okay, bye. Don't forget to eat lunch," and, like, runs off.
And you head off. Gila Cora, please describe yourself.
Um, Gila is a very slight human, very lithe. very stern looking face with light brown eyes, and very short, sort of darkish brown hair. Um, about 5'5". Um, Definitely exudes like an energy of a 35-year-old trapped in a 19-year-old's body, sort of energy. Very perfect posture. Not a smiler.
It's morning. You're dressed, getting ready for your day, getting ready for what could be a busy day, getting ready for maybe the most important day because you've come to a decision. And you look around the homestead and you walk past sort of a hall closet and you can see a pair of your father's boots, but none of his jackets hang in the closet and no other footwear is present. There is no lovingly prepared meal in the morning waiting for you on your table. And what there is an old comfortable chair with a stack of data pads beside it on a table and a stain ring from a calf cup that used to once sit there. Been 2 years since your mother was reported as having been killed in that off-world shuttle accident. And now, after 2 years, you know that you're ready to find out more. Where do you keep your mother's lockbox?
I think most of Gila's life is fairly organized. Things are stacked in perfect places. There's lots of organized cubbies. Um, Except for in one place, there is just a shoe, like a shoe box. It's just filled with a bunch of mementos. There's a press pass. There's leftover pieces from adventures. Several pictures of them and their mother, and one of them and their friends from long time ago, and clippings of fake newspapers that will no longer or will ever exist. Um, and that's where she would. That's where they would keep them.
And when you open up the small container, perhaps one or two other personal keepsakes in there, alongside a assortment of credits, squirreled away imperial credits that you're going to need today to complete your transaction, and a smooth, silvery code cylinder with the gear insignia of the Galactic Empire stamped on the end of it. And you're going to need that today too.
Place care inside of my jacket and sort of wipe away the tears and remember the words of my mother, so that the truth is important. The truth leads to freedom. The truth leads to justice. I am owed that. I will get that by any means necessary.
It's a quiet morning and it's a quiet exit as you step out of your homestead into the light of day. As you do at this usual time, and as they do at their time, your neighbors, the Twi'leks, Otin and Lyris, are doing their morning ritual of saying goodbye. Otin wears his one-piece Salachet Agricultural Corps uniform the Salichet AgCorp insignia on the one shoulder and the Imperial insignia on the other. He's got the ranking bars on his chest. They are all white, denoting no rank, because Oten is a civilian contractor, and therefore he has no authority in the Empire. He seems irritated this morning, and Lyris is smoothing his shoulders and is handing him his satchel, and she's saying, "You go and you tell the lieutenant your concerns, and he will listen to you."
I think Gila ears sort of perk up. A story is possibly there. Maybe it's a treat. A little reward. Kind of walks over and sort of waiting for her presence to be acknowledged. She is not a sociable creature.
They, however, are exceptionally friendly and kind to you, perhaps even more so in the last 2 years. But they've always been kind to you ever since you were young. And they say good morning. And Oten says good morning, but he says it with a furrow in his brow. And Lyra gives you a smile as she does and stylishly shifts her leku onto one shoulder and holds her husband's hand and says, "Good morning, Gila."
Salutations. It sounds like you all have some problems or some issues. Perhaps my intellect can be of some help.
Lyris
Don't-
smiles encouragingly and then looks over to Oten as if to encourage him to open up a little. And Oten, a little exasperated, he says, we don't have the problem. We're gonna have the consequences of the problem. It's the Empire that has the problem. They're running the mine too fast. They're drilling too deep. There's too many overtime shifts, too many ignored safety protocols. Miners are starting to get hurt, and it could be worse if they don't slow down.
Have you presented them with any sort of findings or evidence that perhaps that'll
The
loosen some
foremans don't
appetite?
listen. The foremans have quotas, and they must meet them. I have to speak to someone to authority. And Lyris kind of pats his shoulder and tries to soothe him one more time and says, "Odin will go and see the lieutenant today and remind the lieutenant that if the workers are injured, the workers can't work, the mine can't operate, and then no production happens."
Does anyone know this? You should get this out to other people if they don't listen to you. Someone has to listen to you.
Odin nods. Someone has to listen. You're right. You're absolutely right. And he kisses his wife and says, "You're absolutely right. I will speak to the lieutenant. He has the authority. That's who I will go and see." And he looks to you again. He says, "Thank you, Gila. Wish you a bright morning." And he says goodbye to his wife, and he heads off to head across the bridge to go over towards the AgriCorp headquarters.
Odin, um, looks over at his wife. Uh, bye. And awkwardly walks away.
Lyris will smile at you, and she'll wrap up her her extra shawl and go back inside. And as you head down the side streets in amidst the homesteads, walking along parallel to the fissure, the V-shaped chasm that separates the homesteads from the market, from the landing pads, and from the Salichet Agricor offices. And now, as you look across, seeing the waterfall spilling just behind the bridge that runs from the repair bay all the way across to the other side to the Agricorp yard, the structure that, like a growth that clings to the cliff face, covering part of the Agricore buildings, a black monolithic structure that now stretches 100 meters or more up the cliffs, all the way up to the top. Lights that run up the middle, an indented shape where a massive turbolift runs up from the shelf level where West Crag sits all the way to the top. The Imperial outpost that was built after their arrival that dwarfs every other structure around it, and the permacrete large landing pad that they built over top of the old metal pads that stretches along the cliff on the far side, large enough to receive a shuttle and wide enough in the back you see the arched rack clearly visible from all directions when you look, and suspended from that rack, two twin ion engine starfighters, Imperial TIE fighters, sitting at the ready. But your gaze returns to more familiar sights, and as you do, the discolored, rusted, corroded facades of the homesteads, the upkeep having fallen in years. But you see a splash of color, see a splash of words, you see a splash of graffiti. 2 Pint, what does that graffiti say?
That graffiti says, uh, join the Empire, but it's spelled Pyre, and there's like some silhouettes walking towards like a big bonfire.
That's not how you spell that.
And Gila, as you continue your walk, you see a few familiar faces. You see many of the working age adults in their charcoal gray overall uniform, not the uniform of agricultural workers, not the uniforms of operations, the uniform of the miners, heading up to go and catch the rail car to take them to the mine. The same mine that Oten just warned you is being driven to higher and higher quotas at the risk of everyone there. And as they walk that direction towards the bridge to go across, and as you see the larger building of the repair bay, the Za family apartment perched on one corner, and you can hear a Wookiee bellowing from inside the door as the door flings open and a familiar Ektochi figure steps onto the street.
Hey, Gila. Hi.
Oh, hi, Vilra. How are you today?
Uh,
You look very nice.
Thank you. Yes, I got all the stains out of this jumpsuit, and so like it looks really good now. Anyways, thank you. How I'm doing well. How are you doing?
It is a day I have woken up. I am prepared for the tasks ahead of me, and I have run into a familiar face. So, all things considered, uh, they're going well. Yes, everything's going well.
That's good. Yeah. I think can I assume that we've had this almost exact conversation word for word before?
Yes,
Okay.
almost exactly.
That this is a pleasant greeting from her friend. So, and once again, I'm going to go ahead and assume Gila, not a hugger.
Gila only lets you hug them. They've explicitly worn like a cloak over top so that they can remove it and still be clean.
Mhm.
Being friends with you has anticipated that you are this way and has prepared accordingly.
Yes. Then the hug is incoming.
Physical contact, of course.
Yes. seeing you. And it's just, one of my best friends. So, it's just, and I'm always just so
Surprising.
busy and you're always, I assume you're busy too. I'm stuck in here all the time or I'm running errands or I'm, covered in gunk and I don't want to be seen. So, it's good to see people that you like.
Oh, well, I enjoy every time I see you, despite your demeanor. When it's oftentimes a bit messy, but I enjoy the person underneath the messy garb. So it is always nice to see you as well. Are you heading out somewhere? Are we? Are,
Yes. And she kind of holds up the data pad and it's like, yeah, I have to go get some stuff from the scrapyard. I was going to stop by Tanal farm. So if I could maybe get to the scrapyard just a little faster, because it's a really long walk. I assume you don't go there often?
surprisingly, today I have business near that household, so perhaps we can
We can walk
be
together.
adjacent. Yeah, we can engage in some parallel play. We can walk and we can talk about things that people talk about, and we can work from there.
If you prefer, we can walk in silence.
We don't have to. I know that you are a social creature, and I
Hmm?
want to respect that socialness by reciprocating it. So we can talk about anything.
Oh, okay. Um, I feel on the spot now. But yeah, let's just go. Come on, it'll be fun. So we can head on over. What are you up to today? Like you said you have stuff you're doing? What you doing? Do you have a new story?
Kind of. Um, I think I might have a lead on what happened to my happened to my mother,
Oh,
to happened to Healy. Um, so I'm looking to perhaps chase that, but I have to I have to meet with meet some people, and maybe if you're not busy later, you can assist in it. You have lots of expertise in several fields that I think could possibly be valuable for my future incursion.
I would love to help. Yeah. I was going to say, because sometimes if you have to meet with people, I know that is uncomfortable for you. And I'm more than happy to be there as a strong presence
Yes,
to
no,
help in the social transactions that are going to occur and maybe translate if need be.
yes, I have many strengths, but talking to Mila is not one of them. I am hoping that you can assist in that endeavor.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you can always ask. Oh, we are besties. I will be there for you.
Wonderful. I was hoping to cash in on one of the many benefits of our friendship.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
People, like droids, Vilra, often need a counterweight to keep their balance. And so
Mhm.
perhaps today you're going to be Gila's counterweight.
Of course. I like us to also like to think this is not the first time that we've done this.
No,
Yeah.
you're my extrovert, my my assigned extrovert that I come and grab for these endeavors.
Yes. Your emotional support extrovert is here, um, ready to help out as needed.
Hmm.
And
You
also
can
she loves spending time with you.
you can
Jill
both
also enjoys it.
hear a wet sound of liquid being sprayed out nearby, and if you glance around the corner, you look and can see a beautification droid methodically covering the wall with a dose of paint, back and forth, covering up what appeared to be non standard, somewhat anti imperial graffiti that was on the wall. And for a second, you almost call out, wondering if, and then you realize it is not, in fact, a beautification droid that you are familiar with, because the droid immediately finishes its task, aligns itself directly towards you, and hovers on past you without so much as a beep, heading to the next part of its scheduled maintenance tasks for the day.
I prefer two pint.
2P1NT is quite delightful. Their spelling's atrocious, but I do enjoy listening to them speak.
2 Pint,
Yeah.
you can see the droid has left, but it has covered up the tag that you left during last night's activities.
Kind of whir up to where it was and just put like one more coat over it, just because like they probably missed a spot, just to make sure everything's good, and then turn and see my friends.
And describe 2 Pint to your friends.
Yeah. So 2 Pint is a little robot droid. They have a like kind of triangular head and then a ovular body. They float in the air. They have two long arms. On their back, they have two canisters full of paint that they are able to then spray and clean up. They're covered in some splotches of mostly white paint, but they have just not had cleaned off in what looks like 19 years. And there's a little bit of rust kind of gathering around the edges. The like blue paint is fading a little bit where it was. Is still very much a working droid, but you can tell this is a droid who has not gone in for any repairs or maintenance in a long, long time. Great. Oh, hello. How are you both this fine day?
We are fine. 2P1NT, it is a pleasure to see you as always.
We're doing quite well. Thank you, 2 Pint. How are you doing? When was the last time? You said you were gonna fix up this rust.
Okay, there's a lot of rust in the city. I don't know what y'all are doing to your own infrastructure around here, but
No, on you, buddy. On you.
Oh, on me? Oh, that's fine. I'll worry about that later. I'm trying to fix all the rust that we've got going on around here. It kind of like spins around.
You have to step back as a little bit of excess paint spins off the end of 2 Pint's actuator arms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, stop by the shop anytime and I can help fix this up if you need to. Anytime. You know this.
I think it gives me a little bit of character, right? A little bit of
Yeah.
interest or mystique.
I don't think that's how that word's supposed to be used. Can
Oh.
we speak about the grammatical errors recently in your vandalism? I
Ah,
support your work. I just
kind of like looks
Ugh.
around.
Yeah, there's some elbowing happening. It's like, why don't we maybe use hushed voices for this one?
right. Can we speak about the spelling errors in your vandalism? I'm
It's
concerned.
for on purpose.
I think it was a play on words, like pyre.
Yes. Because if I
So
just
it's
said join the Empire PIRE with like a flame, like then then it won't be as, heavy handed is what I was going for.
I
So
see. Okay.
yeah,
This artistic expression. Okay, I
exactly.
understand. All right. I apologize for not understanding the piece.
No, it's good. I value your feedback on my work. I think so. Thank you for that. I'll keep noodling on that. How maybe I can use non grammatical, nuances to support my messaging.
We are
Anyway,
on our way. We're on our way. Would you like to join us? We're on our way to go visit Tanal and Mila. If you'd
Yeah.
like to join us.
if you don't mind, stop in every once in a while so I can pretend to clean up the wall, then sure.
Sure.
Great.
You can do that.
Then lead the way. I'm right behind you.
Yeah, more the merrier. Ah, so fun.
Vilra, it's probably faster to go through the repair bay and take the bridge that goes directly across to the Salichet yard.
True. You guys okay with a shortcut?
Yes.
2 Pint, you see Vilra immediately turns towards the repair bay, beckoning everybody inside.
Yeah. Real quick, how many bodies are in there right now? Just open for anyone and everyone to see. Just insides on the outside.
Right, right. I forgot about the trauma that I accidentally
Mm,
inflicted upon you.
Hey,
So just once, and then I think she cranes her head in real quick. How bad is it in there?
You can see that Rolwora's got a torso of a load lifter droid with no legs and only one arm. The chest cavity is opened, and he is yelling as he's ripping wires out and flinging them across the repair bay before stomping off in another direction.
Was it?
So actually, I think it might just be let's not take the shortcut.
wait, I mean, we can if we just. Oh, we
So
can.
that's not a word I can translate without
We'll take a shortcut.
upsetting the general public. So
I mean, I can also meet you there. You take the shortcut, and I'll just chug right along, and we can meet up. It's fine.
sure,
Whatever.
I, yeah, oh, okay.
There is a second bridge. You can walk back through town, head past the old community garden, and head across the main bridge, which is the pedestrian bridge, which most peoples from the homesteads use because the repair bay bridge is designated for the load lifter droids so that they can come in for maintenance. You walk
Well,
back through the. Go ahead.
no. Yeah, let's. You just don't come here. If you ever do need to visit, let me just preface this again. Maybe knock first.
Wait, I feel like most droids, when they come in, we're already, like, kind of shut down. We're like, oh, needs to be repaired, and you just kind of. So it'll be fine.
Okay,
But again, I don't need, because I think I look good. I think this suits me.
you look fantastic. I just don't want to. I don't want to see pieces falling off, and I just want to. So you can keep chugging along. You know, I care about. You're one of my best friends, and I just want
Thank
to like
you. You
help.
too. No things are falling off me, so we're all good. And gives like a double thumbs up with their little arms.
You walk through the homesteads. The last of the miners for the day have already crossed the bridge and gone across. You can see as you get closer the remains of the community garden, what was once four arches forming a square with the fountain in the middle. And the fountain, miraculously, is still running. Water still flows through it, and it's still there. But the community garden, the vegetable gardens, the flower planters, the boxes are all fallen to repair or covered in massive stone blocks where the arches have long since collapsed and fallen in on themselves. One of the three arches still stands. It has some cracks in it, but it is still standing, and the other three are collapsing. It's just a bunch of ruin. There used to be pathways through it, and now it would be quite treacherous to try and make your way through that. But there was pathways around it that allowed people to bypass the community garden and get to the bridge and get to their homesteads anyway. But what does still adorn the couple of remaining half walls and pillars that are still standing are a few colorful planter boxes that have been tended by a diminutive and active this morning elderly Celestin woman, Auntie Vim. And she sees you three approaching as she tends to her box, and she has a small apron on, and she has a few of her gardening tools with her. She's a little older. The cheek jowls hang a little lower, a few more wrinkles in her skin, but the smile is always present. And she welcomes everyone and says good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Salutations.
She looks to Vilra. I haven't seen your father at any of the community gatherings. I hope he is all right.
Yeah, he just works a lot, and when he's not, he's sleeping or um he doesn't get out much anymore. It's a lot of work.
It's that way for a lot of us here, but I'm glad that he has you. I'm
Yeah, I'm
glad
glad I
that
have him.
he loves you very much. I've always felt that, even if I know maybe he doesn't say it as often as maybe he once did. But
He's tired a lot, so you know, he shows it. Like he makes breakfast. Um, you know,
and she looks to Gila and good morning, Gila. Any
Salutation.
any new stories that you can give to me to read? I think I've caught up on all the last ones you had.
Currently just got a recent scoop. Can't really divulge anything, but um, it's going to be big. I feel it.
Mm. Going trusting your gut.
It's like just like Healy.
Yes, just like Healy. I'm glad to see you out, and if there's anything that I can help with, it may not be much. Please don't hesitate to ask.
I appreciate that, Auntie Vim. I will keep that in mind. I'm great at asking questions, but I'm not great at asking for help.
Asking questions is how we learn. And when we learn, we gain a little wisdom. And then wisdom teaches us when to ask and sometimes when to listen. And then she smiles at Two Pint and nods and well, you three stay safe. Have a good day. Smell the flowers. She points to the recently hung planter boxes on the remaining outer wall that she's filled with the brightest local flowers that she can provide.
ways they look beautiful.
As
Smell.
you smell the flowers and as Auntie Vim uh, speaks with you, you can hear a bit of a rustle as several men come running across the bridge and start running into the homesteads. They are all uniformed Salashe Ag Corp security people, and they are running with a purpose. And they are running down the road, and then they stop in front of one of the homesteads, and they immediately bang on the door.
Sure,
Pull out my
what
data
that is about.
recorder.
Stick around for a minute and smell the flowers.
Yeah. Do we know whose house that is? Whose homestead it is?
One of the locals, and you see a woman comes out, an older woman, and they immediately hold up a data pad in front of her face. And even from this distance, you can see that there's a bit of a holographic image on it. And they start asking where her son is. And they're asking because he has not reported to his shift at the mine. And that is a breach of his contract. And they need to know if he is inside right now. And she assures them that he is not inside. And she assures them that she has not seen him since last night. And that he went to work. And then last night he went out and she did not see him again. And they insist upon her saying, this is a breach of the contract. There can be penalties for this. And there's a suspicion that tools are missing. And tools are missing from your son's shift. You need to tell us where he is right now. She repeats, she stammers, she assures them that she doesn't know. And they seem impatient. And then the commander, the sort of the leader of the moment, says, under the authority of the Imperial Edict of Productivity, we must search the premises, stand aside. And she pauses for a moment and hesitates, but there's three security and the commander. And then she says, well, I'll show you. He's not inside, and I'll show you. And then he just kind of steers her to the side, and he looks to the men and he says, "Toss it." And the three men go inside, and they
Hey,
don't do so quietly.
Gila, is that a real edict?
Is that a real edict?
The Empire has many statutes, edicts, and infractions, and anybody that's working at the mine, just like Oten, with his civilian contractor rankings, is a contract worker, and the contract dictates when they work and when they come to work and how they work, and that contract is binding until they've served the term of the contract. The
What's
mine
my
is one of the most important employers for Westcrag now, with the loss of the harvesting work in the grain fields. And so it's the families that are still here. For many of them, it's one of the primary ways that they continue to support themselves.
working around, particularly this group of individuals in my father and mother's background, based on like some of these things, because especially Gila's pretty smart. Is there any loophole? Like, can I basically the equivalent? Like, can I ask them to come back with a warrant? Uh,
No, because they're tasked with the security of the. Gila knows this and understands this because they are tasked with the security of the settlement, and probably the security of the mine as well to a degree. Although that sort of falls under the Empire's purview, and Salachet Ag Corp is sort of under the watch of the Empire here. But for the day to day, the Ag Corp security handle most of it. That if there is missing property that they presume stolen, no warrants and judges and rulings are not required. They can and they do uh, impose their weight of their authority on the locals.
I'll kind of clench my fists and, without looking at Vilra, be like, "There's nothing we can do."
I mean, we should.
Vilra, you can see how angry Gila is.
Yeah, let's stop by later and just check on her and make sure she's okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure she'll need help putting the place back together. That's maybe something we can do.
Mhm. Yeah, we've got documentation. I know that's important.
I
So,
am curious. I am curious if where did he go? And tools missing?
yeah, I mean, I also worry about him because people don't just go missing here. Not really.
Have you run into anything similar? Have you run into any similar patterns? Has anybody from your father's shop gone missing or any tools gone? Is anything abnormal happening?
Well, Rowara lost his droid kit, bandolier, but that's not too odd. We have a lot of tools, but I guess if it
Hmm.
doesn't show up, then
There hasn't been
that
any
would be a pattern.
vandalism at the repair bay that you're aware of,
Hmm.
but the load lifter droids occasionally, and in more recent years, sometimes are found ambushed and stripped.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Once is a coincidence, twice is a pattern.
Okay.
Auntie Vim again wishes you a safe day with a more somber tone this time in her voice. She gathers up her gardening gear and seems to be prepared to leave the community garden, the ruins of the community garden, and you all head across the bridge into the market where the locals shop and where everybody buys and sells and trades. And the market leads to the AgCorp yard, which leads to the access ramps going up and above the waterfall and into the tunnel, which will take you all the way down and up to the grain fields. And Two Pint and Vilra head across the bridge, and Gila, you do as well. And Gila, as you look over just for a second out of the corner, and you see an old, battered, still blinking with power communications relay that was once branded with Salishay Egg Corp markings and now has a holographic spindle of an Imperial TIE fighter spinning and a banner inviting to join now and join the excitement and the adventure and the purpose of joining the Imperial Navy. And then
Fa-
you continue across the bridge. Make your way through, pass through the gate. You're permitted to pass through the egg yard, knowing that there is the area up top. Uh, the egg yard is guarded by the egg corp security, but the gates are remain open because miners are coming and going. It's how they get to the rail cars taking them to the mines and other transport. Anybody needing to go up to the surface has to use the tunnel. Head up the big ramps. Now you're standing above the waterfall, water rushing below. You can see the settlement of West Crag, the V-shaped fissure with the homesteads on the right and the market and the Ag Corp on the left. The massive Imperial outpost now crawling up the cliff face beside you, and then the west facing and the ocean crashing up against the cliffs before you. And you turn around, head down the tunnel. I am going to pull up the tunnel and show you, and Yang Yang can do the same, just as a reminder. So if you look on roll 20, you will see, should see, there we go. Metal catwalk that stretches almost a kilometer under the surface. Beneath the catwalk, you can see the underground river that rushes, feeding the waterfall that spills over the cliffs into West Crag. Piping, power conduits, steam pipes. There's mist coming up from the river below, steam and venting gases from the pipes above. And as you get a part way down the tunnel, there is a rail system on your right hand side, which is on the south side, or on the north side, I should say, and which contains the rail cars that take the miners from the tunnel, and it veers off into the cliff face, into the tunnel wall itself, veering off in almost a 90-degree angle, taking them to the distant mine where the Imperials have set up operation. A mine, which you all know, was discovered years ago as a source of zirconium. And zirconium's a raw ore. It's a valuable raw ore because it is used in the manufacture durasteel. And manufactured durasteel is very important because it is used in capital scale starship hulls. And there seems to be a lot of demand for capital scale starship hulls by the Empire. Continue down the wide catwalk, heading to the eventual lift at the far end that will take you up to the surface. And on the left side, as you walk, occasionally there are catwalks that extend away from the tunnel to the north side of the tunnel. Sorry, the mine tram goes to the south side, and then on the north side there are occasional catwalks that end in blast doors that you can see. These blast doors are old, they're corroded, a little bit rusted from the moisture in the air. They've all been sealed. They are rumored to have uh, toxic leaks inside, radiation leaks, uh, old disused repair bays and holding tanks that have not been maintained and are considered dangerous, and they were long ago sealed. And you're just going to continue your walk down the catwalk to the eventual lift, which will take you up to the surface. As you're walking, I'm going to ask for the first roll of our session, everyone to roll your perception, please.
12.
11.
Okay. Gila, you see on one of the side catwalks, and I'll get 2 pint to roll perception, please.
Sorry, I opened the wrong character doc. I was looking at a Monster of the Week character sheet, not Star Wars. That was so confusing. That is
Give the game time. We could get there.
yeah. That's a 8.
Okay. Gila, as you're walking on one of the side catwalks, you see what looks like a tool, just kind of discarded.
I will kind of reach over and grab. Is it grabbable, or do I just see
You'd
it?
have to leave the main catwalk that you're on and actually walk onto the side catwalk. But yes, it's just laying there. It's not obstructed in any way.
To look
The
like there's
the
anybody
side
around.
catwalk just ends in a large blast door. There's a small pedestal control panel that probably was used to operate it at one time, and then sort of just laying at the base of it is a tool just sitting there.
Would I be familiar with what the tool is, or do I need to investigate it to get a better look at what it is?
You can go over and pick it up, and it's just to see what it is, or you could ask if anybody that you're traveling with maybe knows what tool that is.
I will point it out to Vilra and to Two Pint. Um, are you familiar with that tool, the discarded tool over there?
Maybe. Let me go look at it.
You go over
Walks
and you can
over.
see that it's a powered socket. And now that you're here, Vilra, roll your perception again, please.
Okay, so I exploded on my wild die.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Rolled the 6. As a reminder, for Star Wars the role-playing game, Vilra's rolling her perception against a target number based on a difficulty. And one of her dice that she rolls is a wild die, which means if it rolls a 6, she keeps the 6, adds it to her total, and rolls again. And it can keep exploding.
It didn't keep exploding, but the total is 18.
Very good. So yeah, power socket designed to remove bolts, which you can see clearly where it was used because there is a fuse box at the base of the blast door with the front panel that has been removed.
Um, so this is like a pretty standard tool that's been used for some pretty unstandard crime, probably.
The fuse box is empty. There's no fuses inside it. This is old Republic era technology, so the fuses are not in common not in common usage right now. But you do see that somebody has recently rewired the fuse box and wired it back up to the door
Oh,
because the wiring is clean and does not match the rusted, faded, grease-filled demeanor of the wall and the door itself.
yeah, someone reworked this. I don't know why. Also, the wiring looks decent. But they dropped the tool, which is clumsy and, bad form. Weird. I don't know why they would do this. Why someone would.
So what is the fuse box? What is it powering? What is its purpose and the thing that it's supposed to be powering? It's just opening and closing those blast doors.
The pedestal control panel is what you would use to open the door. But in order to do that, there has to be power that runs through it, and in order for the power to work, it would have to pass through a fuse box to connect it with the door. Um, none of these have been powered or operate in any of the years that you can ever remember. But somebody has taken the time to remove the cover to the fuse box, but there's no fuses inside. But they also took the time to then reconnect the fuse box to the door.
We could investigate,
Yes. Excitedly takes out their camera.
or maybe we should. What if people like find us like this? Would we get
Can
in
we hear you?
trouble?
The security does patrol the tunnel from time to time. And Gila, you do know that there's a shuttle coming in very soon.
Hmm.
What if we take some pictures and come back? And I'm going to keep the tool. Wait, no, it was used in a thing. I'm going to leave it here. And then she like gently puts it back, like exactly where it was. Like,
So we'll come back later. We can
yeah.
investigate.
Yeah. And
Should
I
probably
wouldn't
get.
mind if someone strong was with us just in case.
I was gonna say we need some reinforcements.
Yeah. Because I can talk out of a situation. But sometimes that makes it worse. Instead of getting out, I just get deeper, if that makes sense. Um,
I'm really good at painting over things, but that's all I got. That's literally all I've got. So
I prefer when Tanala's with me when I do stuff I'm not supposed to.
I agree. Tanal is good at whatever this is.
Two
Mhm.
pint, two pint. You know that leaving behind evidence of mischief only can attract more attention to that mischief.
I think maybe we don't leave the tool,
Don't leave the tool. Okay.
right? Because here's the thing: we noticed, and we don't. Between the three of us, we don't know a single thing about anything happening here. So somebody who might have an inkling saw that. They could put it together before we did, and who knows what could happen with that.
Oh,
Or
and I've
maybe
already
they'll
touched it.
see us leaving later and then be like, it's them! And then that'd be bad, because, you know, it would.
Okay. Plus, I can put this on my tool belt and I don't think anyone would notice because it looks
Oh
like it
no.
belongs.
Yeah. Yeah. And, is there, I don't know, something we could, like, put in front of it so it looks like it's not rewired? But then, wait, but then if we did that, that'd be more tampering. Forget I said anything. It took a while for, my speech output to, my, processing to catch. Forget. Yep.
Yep.
Ham gives fake coughing sounds.
Sorry, I
You've got
love
the
the fact that
tool.
there's a droid making fake coughing
Now with the
sounds.
tool being gone, with the mist in the air and the steam vents and everything happening, unless someone gets down on their hands and knees to look at the corner of the fuse box, it's not likely anyone's going to notice unless they know to look for it. Continue on down the tunnel. Eventually, you get to the large lift. The lift is huge. It could probably hold 20 people, and it rises up, and there's a retractable door above that once you get on the lift and you activate, the door retracts, sunlight spills in from above, and it takes you up to the surface. And the moment you do, you leave the stale, moist, somewhat foul air of the tunnel. Circulation is a little bit, but not a lot because it's a kilometer long. It's quite a ways. And immediately you're hit with the breeze off the cliffs and the wind off the fields as you get up to the top. Stretching off behind you to your left, all the way back to the cliffs, all the way back in the direction you just walked underground, the now Jayrin family farm, home of the Gorns, beef raised animals for eating, and a small herd of Creation thumpers, domesticated animals for transport and for labor. And on the right-hand side, wavy golden fields stretching out into the distance, but a large shadow as the top of the Imperial outpost that stretches above the cliff rises up in the distance behind you now with a large two-story garage, big enough for, which you can now see in the distance, one of the massive automaton droid harvesters that plods along the fields, harvesting at a far higher rate and capacity than the people-driven harvesters ever could. Black smoke pouring from the top of the droid as it plows along the fields, and the massive bay big enough for those droids to be taken inside to be repaired if needed. But often the droids are repaired on site in the fields at all times of day and night, which is exactly what your father is often tasked to do. Outside of the massive two-story bay, you can see a smaller figure on an Imperial speeder bike. Drifts out of the garage, white-clad armor of an Imperial scout trooper astride it. He looks around for a moment at a distance from where you all are, and then guns the engine and takes off across the fields. And then up in the sky, you can see a shape approaching, and you can see the outline of a large hulled atmospheric freighter on approach, getting ready. A small group of figures has exited the Imperial Depot and is walking toward the somewhat blasted and dirt cratered landing pad where the ships often come in. And Vilra, you smile as Tanal approaches. And you smile before you even see her because you know she's coming. And as you turn around, we see Tanal. And Tanal, describe yourself, please.
Sure. Tanal is a human. She's gotten a lot a lot bigger. She is around 5'9", 5'10", kind of on the taller side. A lot of like lean muscle from just honestly chasing Gorns around because it is a full-time job. She has this very choppy blonde hair that is kind of shaved in an undercut on one side, but on the other has like little braids sort of run through it periodically that are attached at the end with little bits of like ribbon or beads. Very clearly, like she got so bored and just starts like braiding little sections of her hair periodically to do something with her hands. Um, she's wearing very simple, sort of rough spun farming clothes, a big belt on around her waist, with a pair of extra thick gloves that are sort of tucked into it, and she's got her slugger kind of slung across one shoulder. Yeah. So, what are you guys doing on my property?
Looking for you.
Oh, to what do I owe the visit?
You're one of my best friends. Do I need a reason to come? Also, I did have a favor.
Yeah, there it is. That's what I thought.
Sorry.
It's all right. How you guys doing this morning? Holding up?
Salutations. Doing fine, Tanal. Is Mila here?
That's a great question. Is Mila home right now?
You can see her ship on approach coming in as you speak.
Kind of.
Tanal's
Points
question
up.
being somewhat loaded because anybody that's up here today, each day this on a week, the same day each week, when the freighter comes in to bring supplies and to pick up the sheafs of grain, which in the distance you can see the load lifter droids, repaired by the Za repair bay, gathering and stacking these massive sheafs of grain that are impossibly large compared to the droids. But the droids are strong, sturdy, and simple, and that they've got one task: to gather and stack, to gather and stack, and that's what they do. And eventually they will load these sheafs up onto the freighter after Mila lands and after she unloads.
Kind of points to the ship coming in. Yeah, she's on her way to pick up their cut. You still wanted to chat with her, right?
I did. If it's possible, I'd like to make an appointment. If that is the order.
You don't need an appointment here. It's fine. She should be home in not too long, hopefully, this time, unless she and her crewmates go drinking, in which case it might be a long time, but you never really know with her, so.
Okay. We do also require your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your proficiency in violence, possibly in a endeavor around an investigation.
Uh-huh. All right.
We don't need you to act violently unless it required. We want to do some sneaky stuff, and we don't
Uh-huh.
like doing that unless you're there to make sure we don't get hurt if
Right, so you need
don't like.
muscle, yeah?
Yeah, we do.
Cool.
And then
can
also I
I,
was hoping to borrow a thumper so I can go to the scrapyard so I don't have to.
yeah, that's totally fine.
Well,
Come in, let's put a pin in that. The sneaky stuff. What are we talking about today? I don't know. It's been a while since I've pissed off somebody in white armor. What do you have in mind?
we don't know it's them. So,
Benefit of the doubt. All right, that's fair. That's fair.
yeah, I mean, 9 times out of 10 that they are the problem. So
Could be the one. This could be the one time.
could be the one. We
You
were
never
we were
know.
walking through the tunnel, and then we found a tool that was used to like break open the thing, and it was rewired, and the door now opens and it didn't before, and
So was
it's
there
easier
a
to show you.
All right. We can.
We want to go like in a
Yeah.
room that we're not supposed to go into, basically.
Oh, well, why didn't you just say so? Yeah, I'm totally in. That sounds fantastic.
Okay, cool.
Sure. Do you want to do that before or after we head out to the salvage yards? Because I know you got stuff to do.
Well, I'm gonna have to get a lot of stuff, so I don't
Got
want to have to carry it with me.
Cool. So we poke around first, and then we dig around.
And then we'll do chores. Yeah. He doesn't need
Yeah.
them like right this second. He can.
Yeah.
Last time I saw him, he was kind of looks at 2 Pint. He was very busy. So.
Uh-huh. Gotcha. And kind of will sort of
Rolwara did also tell you that he's got a list of parts that you don't have at the bay and that he can't requisition from the Empire. And he was tearing apart a droid in frustration at being unable to complete his task.
Yeah, but he didn't give me a timeline. He didn't say I need them right this second. He just said we can't requisition them and that he needs them, but he didn't be like, I need them right now. He just said, go get them. And so.
And if you've got a thumper now, so you'll go faster. So really, you've bought yourself time.
I bought myself time.
Girl math.
And girl math. And and it might take me a long time to find everything he needs.
Have you looked at the list?
No. What's on the I think now she's like, I should probably check the list to make sure it's actually doable. And then like pulls out the data pad and just starts scrolling.
It's a lot of fairly standard droid parts that the salvage yard often has. And you and Rolwara have talked about how often do they have these droid parts, because the load lifter droids are old Republic era droids, and so they are the salvage yard is filled with a lot of older technology that is no longer in use or has been decommissioned or damaged and isn't worth repairing. So it really won't be difficult to get the items, and most of them are smaller. A small case of couplers and some power regulators and things that just as many as they could possibly have. You just know that Aurora is basically stalling for time to get as many of the droids running as he can with however many he can get. And then he's got some other pieces in there as well. And you can see that he's also asking for a bunch of older Republic era wiring, terminals, fuses, all sorts of things.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, and I also don't want to subject. She looks at her human companions, kind of looks away from Two Pint. Don't want to have to put them through the salvage yard.
Gotcha. Would be a little bit gruesome. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm sure we could we could do that real quick.
All right.
It's not.
How about
It's
this?
not.
How
It's
about
not a long run with. It's not a long run with the thumpers. If you choose to use the thumpers and go, it's a reasonably shorter ride because the thumpers are fast.
She was already on the lift.
All right, just hold your horses real quick, guys. I do actually have like responsibilities here today, so let me just go and check in real quick with the rents. All right, I'll be right out.
Okay,
Did you guys have breakfast this morning? Did you guys eat?
I had breakfast.
Okay,
I don't
Well,
eat.
sort of.
you're good, Gila.
Does coffee count
Calf is
as...
still not a meal.
No,
It's
we've told you
been
this.
a long time. It's still not a
Hold
meal,
on.
and just starts
Calf is
not a
backing
meal.
up towards the house.
Is it a coffee with a bunch of stuff in it? Like like there's a lot of like milk in there, and there's like there's different flavors. Because then I could argue sometimes.
Nope.
No 2 pint. No.
Nope. Still not a meal.
Alright.
Liquid's not a meal.
I
Sorry,
think
guys.
we decided you got to chew to have a meal. So
So then,
Are you
what's the
gonna make
point of
me eat?
smoothies?
nothing. They're not anything.
Lubrication, 2 pint. It's lubrication.
Oh,
You're not going to give me
Ah.
pocket biscuits again, are you?
Nah, it's not
It
gonna be in my
happened-
pocket for that long this time. And we'll kind of back up and run back towards the house for a minute to just pop in.
And Sheila, that
Um,
happened like twice. You can't always.
Once is
Yeah,
a coincidence, twice is a pattern.
right. Okay. So, do you want to do that, and then I'll jet out to the salvage yard, and then we can all meet back up?
Sure, I'll enjoy some family breakfast. That sounds
Yes.
pleasant.
I can come with you to the salvage yards if you need someone. It's really okay.
It's okay.
The
It
salvage
doesn't.
yard's not as traumatic to 2 pint because a lot of it's just old machinery and larger piles of machinery. Yes, there are droid parts there, but often the droid parts have been already been picked apart and separated. It's not going to be like a massacre field as
Okay.
opposed to the morgue. I mean the repair bay that is in
The
West Dragon.
repair bay.
Right.
I
The
think,
surgical suite, aka the repair bay.
yeah.
So yeah, come on. So yeah, 2 pint and I'll go do that. They can help me find all my little bits and bobs, and you both can eat breakfast.
I think that at the mention of family breakfast, Tanal kind of like there's like a little bit of like a weird like hesitation in her face, and she's just like, I was just gonna go grab stuff like to go if we don't have, yeah, because
Oh,
like
thank God. I
yeah,
thought
it's
you were
okay.
going to
I'm
make
not
me
gonna.
engage in social interaction.
No, it's totally cool. My mom's a lot sometimes. I'm not gonna put you through that. So I will be right back. And we'll kind of run back into the house and stick her head in the door and be like, "Mom."
So mom has gone this morning.
Mom's
Life on
gone.
the farm is early, so she is already set off for the day. She has to go deal with the AgriCorp. Sharing the responsibility of the farm, that your mother, Amani Jaren, needs to go and speak with the Imperial handlers because the prices per head for the Gorants are getting smaller and smaller every season. It's getting tighter and tighter, and they are the primary purchaser of the meat. Obviously, you sell it to West Crag. You can sell a little bit of it in the local market, and many of the local families will come up to the farm and buy from you directly. But the Empire is even cracking down on that because they don't want to have unsolicited or unsanctioned trade. They want everything to go through the official sanctioned channels.
Yeah.
But it's really the price per head that's getting to be untenable and really putting the farm. The credits are tight, and now they're getting tighter. But
Yeah.
your stepfather, Vin Jaren, with his shaggy mop of hair, sort of a full rough beard. He is home. He's already out in the fields, tending to the gorns, feed, checking up on their health, checking their hooves. And so you can just head into the homestead, head into the kitchen and grab some food, or you can check in with Vin if you decide you need to speak with him.
Yeah, I think that she heads into the kitchen very quickly and just looking at their pantry, looking at the ever dwindling amount of things in it, um, kind of goes for there's like, can there be Gort jerky? I feel like there's
Absolutely,
Gort jerky. Cool.
absolutely.
Um, goes for like a little quick container of Gort jerky and is like looking at it and it is, puts a couple of pieces in it and then looks back at the jar that is not very full at all, but also the amount that she put in here is not a lot at all, and just takes a couple extra pieces, and will head out. And on her way out, just kind of pass by and be like, "Dad, hey, I'm uh I'm helping out Vilra today over at the salvage yard. So I'm gonna do my chores. I'm gonna do all of them, and the Gorns are never going to uh look so fantastic and well tended in their entire lives. But Vilra just needs the extra hand today, so we're gonna borrow an extra thumper. All right,
He's
cool.
standing out in the yard. He's got, large sort of spade in his hand where he's doing some digging and such, and a couple of the gorns are grazing nearby. And as you're running out, he kind of just he does what he always does, which is just kind of puts up a hand just to kind of pause you for a moment.
Yeah,
And he doesn't
just stops in
yell,
tracks.
but he speaks with a calm but loud enough voice that it carries across the field. And he says, "Your mother's gonna want you home for dinner.
I know. I'll be home.
I'll look after the fence on the south side, which your mother told you to look after. But in return, you'll make sure that all the thumpers come home and no fights."
I think that she was very like dutifully like nodding along to all of those stipulations, and then at no fights, her mouth kind of just flattens into just a thin line, and just okay, cool, yeah, no problem. It's literally just salvage, so it should be fine. Do you want some? Did you eat this morning? Do you want some jerky?
Your friends are waiting.
All right, thank you so much. I owe you literally anything that any extra chores for the next I don't know, week, month, we have for the rest of our lives. I'll make it up to you. Okay, I love you. Bye. And we'll kind of go and run back over to her friends. Cool. So we are good on Gaunt and we are good on breakfast snacks. Is it suspicious stuff first? Yeah? Weird stuff? Or salvage
It's
first?
incoming freighter first.
Shit.
A normal sized freighter cockpit capable of holding a small crew bolted on to a massive oversized cargo hold, far larger than what most freighters would look like, because it's designed to hold massive amounts of grain stacked as high as it can go to carry back to the capital city for processing and for further shipment off world. The emblazoned logo of the transport company, Cora Transport, is seen as Gila looks upon one of her father's ships. The freighters are not armed, they are underpowered, and they are atmospheric flight only. They only travel within the skies, and they're only for transport of the piece. The rough dirt landing pad that has long since been blasted away as the shuttles keep coming in, the AgriCorp security team approaching the ship as it comes down, and there's a few other locals picking up supplies, presumably to take back to market, to take back to their probably some of the Egg Corp employees taking back supplies that are coming on the freighter because the freighters run once a week, as you know. So you only get to see Mila if she's the pilot this week, which you know that she is. Only get to see her once a week, but at least she gets to spend the night. And when they offload and then load up the freighter overnight, as the droids work around the clock to load up all the grain sheafs, each morning the next day is when she'll fly off first thing. So you get a short period of time, but you have that period of time. Massive loading ramp comes down off the side of the hull, outside of the cargo hold, and then a smaller ramp comes off crew entrance, and a ramp extends down to the ground, and a couple of figures mill about, and then you see a woman appear at the top of the ramp on the passenger load. She's wearing looks to be some kind of a poncho or shawl wrapped up around her shoulders, wide bandana across her head. She's got a cigar clenched in her teeth, a thin cigar. As she steps out, knee-high boots, hard leather soles, and on her hip, on her leg, a holstered blaster pistol, which is illegal and not permitted in the West Craig settlement. And as the Salishay security team approaches, along with their handler who's got a data pad and he's looking at his list, she tugs on a drawstring on the poncho. It unfurls, draping down just one side of her body, wrapping around her leg and concealing the blaster as she descends the ramp.
That's my
Mila
aunt.
Sesper greets the Egg Corp team. She starts barking orders at some of the droids. There are load lifter droids that were on the ship with her that are coming down the ramp. They are carrying cargo containers with them as they come. A few organics come down the ramp. They are presumably new mining crew, new workers coming in for their rotations that don't live in West Crag, or maybe are new recruits that are coming in. When their uniforms are cleaner, you know they're new. They're being met by some of the AgriCorp handlers as well. And as you approach, keep your distance for a moment. You can see the load lifter droids dropping container after container. And you can see Mila is talking with the supervisor who's got his data pad and is going through the list. Got okay, foodstuffs, medical restock, you know, these supplies here, parts and tools, repulsor engines, and he's going through the list here. He's like, this says 10 and I see 12. What's the discrepancy? And Mila kind of takes the cigar out for a moment and blows a little puff off and puts it back between her teeth, and she says, accounting. Is it a droid or is it an overtired cylinder shuffer that you've got running that manifest? And she holds out her hand and looks at it, and she goes, well, that all lines up with what I have here. Looks like you're missing this one and this one. Yeah, probably an extra load of parts, maybe a little extra few bottles for the officer's liquor cabinet. You know how these things go. Everybody roll perception as she has the data pad in her hand.
Oh, exploded.
Wild die. Everybody's rolling their perception against the target number to see what they notice.
I got a
16.
16.
16 and
Uh,
16?
13.
13?
8.
Vilra and Two Pint are very much enamored with the technology that they see. Droids unloading the big ship in front of them, which Vilra is always doesn't get to come up and see every time. This is your chance to see it up close again. The gas is venting from the bottom of the ship, and the landing gear settling into the dirt, and you can just get a kind of a glimpse into the hallway leading to the cockpit, and just all sorts of wonderful things. But Gila and Tanal see her hand the data pad back to the supervisor, and on top of the screen, it is now obscured by a layer of credits as she hands it to him, which he takes for a moment and then just shifts so slightly so that his back is now to the security team, which is supervising the unloading of the cargo containers. And he kind of stacks the credits and gathers them up in his palm, slips them inside his coat. Yes, 12 containers, as we see. And he clicks off the data pad, turns around, and immediately walks off. 10 containers of cargo are accounted for. 2 other cargo containers are brought down and kept near the base of the ramp. The AgCorp workers withdraw, the security team withdraws, and your aunt, Mila, turns to you, gives you a wink, and comes over for a hug.
Yeah, I think that Tanal is kind of just like running at her and just throws her arms around here. Oh my gosh. They gotta let you come out here more often.
A lot of runs, a lot of different sites that they need
Mhm.
grain hauled from. I do my best to get on this run when I can, but old man Cora runs a busy schedule, and he needs his best pilot to make his most important runs.
Yeah. Well, well, maybe when they're done keeping you all to yourself, you'll teach me that magic trick you just did.
It's a very expensive magic trick.
Uh-huh.
It's getting more expensive all the
Making
time.
crates multiply. It's impressive.
And she kind of looks over your shoulder and looks at your friends.
Uh,
She
Jula had
she goes
a
over and taps one of the containers, and she says, "This one is for one of them. Which one is it?"
will kind of, I think, nod towards Jila a little bit with her chin.
And then she says, "And this one is for you."
It's not even my birthday.
Yeah, but you still placed an order, didn't you?
Yeah, maybe. You know, just
Now,
kind of,
if your
kind of.
father sees you coming into the house with that,
Yes, I know. It would be horrible, and I would be shoveling gort droppings probably every hour of every day for the rest of my very long, very natural life. And I don't want that, and I don't think you want that, and so he's not gonna say it.
reaches into a jacket and hands you a small code cylinder and says, "Well, maybe it should just go in my cottage then."
Thank you. Thank you so much, because this place gets so boring so fast when you're not here.
Nods over to Gila and motions her over and kind of takes the little cigar out again for a moment, and she says, "Got some basic supplies, some restocks, some seeds for the old lady who likes to garden, and a few uniforms at the bottom. You sure this is
Yes,
what you want, kid?"
I do. I need I need to know. This is the only way.
I told
Your
you it was going to
discretion.
be told you it was going to be 200 credits, 100 for the uniforms and 100 for the delivery. That delivery just cost me 300. So it's going to be 400 credits.
Was that our original deal?
No, the original was 200, but I just had to spend an extra 200 to make him go away and not search these extra containers. So
Assume
now
the
you owe
risk
me
came with the
4.
cost. Well, I guess everyone's robbing somebody today. And pulls out the 400.
Gila has a lot of credits. And she takes the credits from you and kind of fans them in her fingers for a moment and snaps them in and puts them in another pocket somewhere else in the jacket. And then she smiles again and smiles back to Tanal and says, Well, it's going to take a while for this to get loaded. I got to go to town and see a few people and get a drink. Are you coming with me, or what are you doing? You got to go shovel.
No, I'm not on shoveling duty. We gotta head out to the salvage yard. I'm helping Vilra. It's a whole thing. But you're coming to dinner tonight, right?
If I don't, your mother will never let me hear the end of it.
Correct. Yeah. And then I'll never hear the end of it because I'm stuck here when you go back. So you better be there. All right.
Are they gonna let you come and spend a summer in the city?
I like we talked about it. I broached the. I started to get the words out, and then it just got a little. Things are really rough on the farm right now, and we can't really spare the manpower because they're kind of got the boot on our neck just a little bit. Gort heads don't go for what they used to, and there's too much to do. I think maybe next season we can try again, but for right now, it's just I don't think it's gonna work.
You sound like your mother. And then
Like I said,
she just starts to walk away towards the farm. Because I sure know that Vin doesn't talk like that, but
nope.
she doesn't look back as she says it. She just keeps on walking.
Uh-huh. All right, cool. Look me in the eye next time you want to insult me like that. I love you.
You can take the crates for Tanal, stash it in Mila's cottage, so Vin doesn't see it.
Yeah.
You can take the crate for Gila, store it at the farm as well. Yes, there are uniforms down at the bottom, but those can stay where they are for the time being. Um, or if Gila and Tanal are gonna go back, or are they gonna accompany you to the salvage yard? Tanal, would you be willing to let Vilra take a thumper herself, or would you ride with her?
Um, I would usually prefer to ride with her, but I don't want these crates sitting out for too terribly long. And I know that Vilred is usually pretty good with the thumpers. I know that, they've got a good handle on it. So I think that I'll just kind of nod over to the enclosure where we keep them and just be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure mine is still saddled up, so you should be able to just hop on and go. All right, bring them back
Oh,
in one piece.
oh, for sure. It's not going to take too long.
All right, no problem. Happy scrapping.
Thanks. You're the best.
All right, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Gila, are you going to go with Tanal to the Agacorp offices, just the two of you then? Or are you going to wait for your friends to come back?
I think the original play was that we all were supposed to go together, so I think I would just wait here with Tanal. I do not want to scrap. I do not dream of labor. So I,
Okay.
I think that they get into her aunt's place, and um Tanal kind of like they move all the crates and gets very comfortable, and then we'll crack open the one that's for her. I feel like I know what's inside of this crate. There's things for teenage shenanigans and tomfoolery, I'd imagine. So we'll just pull out a bottle of very, very suspicious looking dark brown liquid and be like, well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
And Gila's education begins. For the sake of expediency, Vilra and Two Pint, you fly out to the salvage yard. I'm going to pull up that salvage yard map right now and just remind you what the salvage yard looks like so that you can see that. And we'll pull it up on the screen. Massive piles of just debris and old equipment and old harvesters that used to be driven by the farmers piled up and surrounded by golden fields of grain. Vilra and Two Pint, when you guys leave the farm, leave the ranch, the Javen Ranch, and ride out, there's a moment when you get up to the top of a rise before you'll head down, following the cliff's edge, because you can see that the salvage yard is against the cliffs. But you get up to a rise and you can see the vast golden fields of the grain field stretching out to the horizon beyond what you can see. And in the distance, a black, ugly scar, a massive depression, layer upon layer of tiered excavations with black smoke that plumes out of it and small industrial buildings clinging to the side of it. The Xerxium farm, Xerxium mine, that is a massive scar in the land that drills down, down, down with the underground rail system that ferries the miners back and forth. But you can see it there for a moment before the landscape shifts and it disappears from view again. But it just sits there, spewing up black smoke and just a buzz of activity day and night. You get close enough where if the wind shifts, you can smell it, and it doesn't smell good. But today the wind is away from you, and you don't have to endure it, and it doesn't disturb the thumper, and you can continue on riding. You ride out to the salvage yard. A few of the workers that are out there, hard men that make their living dismantling, scavenging, salvaging what they can, what they find, what they steal. But Rolwora's requisition, you know that he has a list, is for Sledge. And so he wants you to find Sledge and to get that. And so you guys head in a little ways into the yard. The men are kind of hard faced and scowly at you, but they pay you no real mind once you tell them you're here for Sledge. And then they bring you around one of the massive piles of debris, and you find Sledge standing there, and he's pointing and directing some of the men. And there's a couple of really beat up droids as well that are very battered and dented, and most of the original paint has long since been scraped off. They've got reinforced shoulders and hips so that they can carry large, heavy loads. And he's directing them to all move garbage from this pile to this pile and back again. And one of the younger men runs up and whispers over his shoulder, and Sledge turns around to see you. And Sledge, just like you saw him years ago in the repair bay, still that same handsome man, at least on the right side of his face, because the left eye droops and the left face is scarred to match the burns on his hands and his exposed arm. The whole left side of his body is scarred and burned. And he walks up to you. He says, "Again?" And he doesn't wait for the data pad and yanks it out of your hand unless you try and keep it away from him.
No. I think at this point she knows. Like she had it halfway to him and then just was like, "Yes, again."
He looks at it all. He says, "Why aren't you ordering this from the Empire? Why are you wasting your time out here with this?"
Um, I don't know, we can't.
It's because your old man won't stand up to them, will he? I told him he needs a partner. He needs somebody who can navigate those conversations.
He has a
It,
partner.
yeah. I'm still waiting for an answer to my offer. I
Okay.
told him I told him I can help with the contract. Take some of that workload off. Run those harvesters day and night. I got a crew here. We can do the work. All he has to do is cut me in. And I'm sure as his partner, he's told you of that offer and you see the wisdom of it.
That's all well and good. If you check the list, that's what I'm looking for, not what is happening.
So what you're saying is you need a favor from me, but no one's going to do a favor for Sledge.
I feel like as the tension mounts, 2 Point is just gonna like fire off a spray can and go, "Oh gosh! Oh, sorry about that malfunction. Oh geez. Sorry about the paint. Got a glitch or something. Anyway, where's the stuff? That way? Great.
Yeah.
Just, like trying to move things along.
Two
And I'm not
Pint can
asking for
absolutely start gathering because you can find some of these parts in the piles. As you see, 2 Pint, roll a search for me, please, because that's what you're doing, which is under perception. If you have it, you're gonna roll that search. Include your wild die as one of your dice, and we will see what 2 Pint can find on the list, rather than having to wait.
2D plus 1. I didn't explode, but that is a 11.
That is an excellent roll on 2 dice. You start finding droid components. You know very well what droid components look like, and so you start gathering them up. You can find a simple bucket that you can start hauling all of this stuff into. But what you see and what you recognize, buried under a bit of debris, it needs to be dug out a little bit, is a Republic era fuse.
Uh, how big is it?
The fuse is about yay by yay. Fits
Will
in a
it fit
fuse.
in my?
Fits. Oh, it fit in your compartment. Absolutely.
Uh, gonna have a 2 Pint like swoop down and kind of like dig things through with their little arms and see if they can kind of like scoop it into their little chest box compartment without anyone noticing. Kind of.
If he's making a mess, I'm going to charge you for all the parts I have to clean up.
He's not. Just relax. It's a salvage yard, not like, I don't know, someplace nice.
He gives you the data pad back. He almost tosses it to you, just kind of that. You tell that Wookiee no more favors unless your old man cuts me in on the harvester repairs.
This only benefits. I don't. First of all, I'm not a messenger. So you have something you want to tell them. Why don't you stop by?
Oh, I'll tell him. I'll tell him that I'm tired of week-old Gornt meat. I'm tired of fewer and fewer salvage yards, salvage contracts coming in. I'll tell him that I'm tired of every half-wit trying to sell me their mining harness full of tools for a few credits so that they can try and get out of this spit hole. Yeah, I'll tell him.
Thing. Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe try being nicer. I don't know. I,
This is Salashay. The only thing nice is the view when you leave it. And he turns and he walks off back into the yard. His one side of his face, the right side expressive, and the left side doesn't really move.
she does flip him off when he's away.
2 Pint hovers up with a bucket of parts. Seems to have a decent collection of what Rolwara was looking for in the list.
Heck yeah.
And you guys can mount up and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I don't want to be here any longer than we have to. So let's just. And she just starts grabbing and going and throwing in her bag.
You head back without incident. When you get back, Gila and Tanal are there. You all gather near the edge of the property. There's a huge divot in the ground, the nose of a land speeder that crashed into the fence years ago still half buried. The fence actually makes a small angle where it had to be repaired because the gorns got out and the fence had to be rebuilt and restructured up. And you gather at that corner of the property. You've got the parts, you've got uniforms, you've got a curiosity in the tunnel, and a dangerous search in the Egg Corp offices. What are you going to do first?
First, I need to tell Gila about what Sledge said about people selling their mining harnesses and then trying to leave. Because based on what we heard this morning,
I, if he sold it to Sledge, means he's running from something.
Sorry, who sold
So,
what? What happened?
I don't know. But the thing is, he said harnesses, plural. So I feel like today is not the first time this has happened, or last night, or whenever that guy left. We need to catch you up.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm missing something. What's going on? Is somebody missing?
Yes.
Like disappeared missing or like regular missing?
Like, didn't
originally,
show up to work,
yeah,
and there's also tools missing. Sorry, you go ahead.
no, you nailed it on the head. Somebody went missing this morning, along with missing tools, and missing tools not only there, but also at Vera's residence as well. The wiki has recently had some items missing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Between that, the issue with the fuse box, and then this, Slade is connected in some way, and our friend who is missing may be connected to that in some way. Either one of them may have tampered with the fuse box. At least that's where I'm at right
Huh.
now. We need more clues. We need more.
I've also got something cool in my tummy, or what you would call a tummy. Gonna like open up my little chest box, like pull it out. Look what I found in the yard, and then I stole it. It's okay. It's not like a bodily part.
Oh, that's
Huh.
There you go. Yeah, you look at that.
and it was just
Oh,
that's why you okay.
What exactly does that do? Sorry, I'm
Republic era fuses that were in the fuse box that was tampered with. So between the
huh.
tools, our missing worker, our missing miner, and then the other tools missing, we're beginning to form a little bit of a picture here.
Uh-huh.
Do you mind if I hold on to this? Or do you want to put it back in your tummy?
I mean, if you want to, you can. It might be a little bit safer, as you know. With me, as people don't generally ask to see what's in my tummy, but if you want to hold on to look at it, that's fine.
No, yeah, I mean I can see it's not that exciting. It is, but like not
Yeah.
in your tummy's good. That's safer there. And
All
that way I
right.
don't accidentally give it to Rawar
True.
back at the I don't wanna
Yeah. All right. I'll hold on to it.
Right.
Boop.
So, order of operations here. Because we're burning daylight. We probably want to get your supplies back as quick as we can, so that way they can keep going with the repairs. And then maybe hit the fuse box on the way, poke around a little bit, see what's what, and then if we still feel good about kind of looking at Gila, the rest, find some place to duck in and get changed. Yep.
Yeah,
can we
that
fill
plan.
me in on what the rest is?
Oh, you didn't.
Oh,
Right. Gonna just.
um, so Vera, she reaches in, or they reach into their pocket and they pull out a cylinder.
I'm going to share that code cylinder right now up so you can see it. The Imperial code cylinder. that Sheila pulls out, hidden from one of her inside pockets.
Well, as you all know, 2 years ago, well, my mother is no longer here due to an accident. But everything in my body tells me that that is not an accident. The fatality rate, the chances of that happening are astronomical, and I know probabilities play into that, but I just don't feel like that was what had happened. So I was poking around through some of my mother's things, and I found this. It can't be read by anything that we have here. This can only be read in an Ag Corp console. I need to know why my mother would bring this to our home.
Yeah,
You need
we're gonna get to the
me to
bottom
help
of
you
it.
with that?
I'm good at asking questions, but I'm not good at asking for help.
I'll help you. I trust you. You think of every scenario. You wouldn't ask me to do something if you didn't believe it was the right thing. And you're not asking me to do anything. I am volunteering to help you with this mission. Gladly.
Felt like you would say yes. You've saved me before and helped me when I needed it.
That's what friends do. And I liked Healy. Cora. So let's figure this out. But what am I doing? Am I sneaking?
We are
We
collectively sneaking in there.
Okay.
need to figure out the immediate next step and go from there, I think.
A lot of things have happened today. It makes me feel like it is not coincidence that we have found this fuse box. I don't give lots of stock to the Force, but maybe just this once.
All right. Well,
Sure.
yeah, let's go head to drop off the scrap and see what we see along the way. Yeah?
Yeah. Plus, I have to deliver a mild threat to a Wookiee, so I'd prefer to do that with witnesses.
Understood. Yep.
Yeah.
Are we close to like a? I know earlier when we were in the mine area, there was or not in the mine, by a little secret door. There were people coming in. Are they? Do we think they're cleared out by now? What's the timing? How long has it been? Are they gone? Is there like a shift change going through?
You talking about the tunnel beneath, or are you talking?
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah. So
yeah.
if you're ready to go and you're going to gather up, bring the cargo with you that you're bringing, you can all get on the lift, go down the cargo lift, and then back into the tunnel. It's mid morning, almost midday at this point. By the time Vilra is ridden out and ridden back with the thumper.
Mhm.
And so there's activity in the morning when all the miners get into the tunnel to load up into the rail cars and go out to the shift, and then there's activity in the evening at dusk when the day shift miners return and the night shift miners load up and so forth. So at this time of day, no, there's occasionally foot traffic through the tunnel, but not often because it's not used as much anymore, given the fact that there's not ag workers going back and forth to the harvesters. The rail cars is a new addition, and it was specifically drilled for access to the mine directly. And once the shifts have changed over, the tunnel is usually pretty quiet during the day. There is still people that walk through.
Yeah, we better go before it gets later in the day. For any swing
Gather up your
shifters
cargo,
coming in.
get onto the massive lift. The lift descends, taking you back down to the tunnel, and the last of the sunlight closes above you as the door closes, and you're back into the damp, loud, rushing water of the river below, and the pipes and venting and steam below. Distant noises echo down from the rail car tunnel, and you start to make your way back down the tunnel itself. You're almost to the catwalk where you discovered the discarded tool, and you can hear a bit of commotion, a couple of voices coming towards you the opposite direction. And after they pass through the steam, you see two Salichet Ag Corp security people doing a foot patrol, crossing paths with you as they're walking towards the lift, and you're walking towards the exit of the tunnel. And so they pass you, they make note of you, but they don't speak to you. Do you slow down near the catwalk where the tool was found, or do you just keep walking? So you keep walking, you can slow your pace a little bit, and after a short time, as they make it to the end of the catwalk at their end, you can hear the whirring of the lift as it powers up, and then you can hear the lift rising, presumably taking the security up to the surface.
I think that Tanal gives a cursory kind of glance around to see that they're alone. All right, so that was
Tanal, do you have the slug thrower with you,
yeah.
or would
I
just
feel like
checking?
it's always kind of it's like it's very like she's used to carrying it around all the time
Just
to
checking.
potentially fend off predators,
Yeah, yeah.
but
It's not restricted under the current regulations, but I wanted to double check.
yes, I do.
Okay. Do you double back then to the catwalk into that fuse box? There's no one else in the tunnel. The steam wafts through and then clears again, giving you visibility for a moment, and then it drifts down again some more from the pipes. But when it does that, you don't see anybody else in the tunnel.
Shall we poke around a bit? All right.
Waiting
Yeah.
to say that all day.
And I think that Tanal is very cautiously like she usually has like the sort of like long like band that kind of keeps her slugger strapped to her back over one shoulder, but I think kind of just like moves it so that it is just slung on the one, not in like a like I'm using this immediately, but in a like I want this to be more easily accessible to me when the time comes kind of move.
Sure.
Shall
Two
we?
Pint has a old Republic era fuse, a fuse which in fact will fit this fuse box if you choose to do a little repair and insert it in there. You gonna you gonna do a little work on that fuse box, Vilbra?
Yeah, I think I will do some maintenance.
Okay. So I'm gonna get you to roll your technical for me. Don't forget to include your wild die. You're rolling against a difficulty number to install the fuse box. Install the fuse in the fuse box, which is something you have done before in other areas of the settlement, and it is not a difficult difficulty for you.
Um, it's a 6.
Total.
Yeah,
Okay. And what did your wild die roll?
a 4.
Okay. 2 Pint, roll your technical for me, please.
Yeah. He's a little shaken up from having seen security guys just walk by.
It is so. We've all been there. Oop, I'm rolling 4. Why am I only rolling 2? Okay, there we go. Ooh, I exploded. Okay,
Outstanding.
and then I didn't. Okay, so that is a flat 20.
2 Pint is hovering beside you. Get the fuse in, massage it a couple times, click it into place, take your hands back. I got it. And then there's a little actuator arm that just comes out, pops the fuse back out. You see the hand just rotates in place with the arm not moving, just to reverse it, snaps the fuse back into place, and then 2 Pint's arm retracts.
You got it.
Thanks. Thanks. Thank you.
You can see that the fuse box was rewired, as you noticed before, which means they've connected it back up to the power inside the tunnel. The pedestal control panel is off right now. You would have to turn it on if you want to see if it's going to work and open the door.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you
Go
to
ahead and
roll security, which is under technical, which is what you use to open and activate secured doors.
I don't have that, so I'll just roll my technical.
Or you can talk to your companions if you think there's anybody that has, because this is not something that Vilra has spent a lot of time with. She's worked on engines and droids and chassis.
Two Pint, do you want to maybe try a hand at this?
I think we lost 2 Pints vocabulator.
Oh, there, yep, I forgot to click on the microphone. Very important thing. I only have the computer slash
So
programming
you're gonna
repair.
roll your raw tech security falls under technical. You're gonna roll your raw technical, and you're gonna add in your wild die like you always do. It's not a difficult task. It's just a matter of and of anybody here, 2 Pint has had the most experience with security doors in and out of the Ag Corp repair bay.
That is a 15. That's the sound that's always in my brain. I just need everyone to know that. That's just what goes on in there.
There's a flicker, and then lights wink onto life on the terminal, and there's power coming to it. Whoever did the wiring job did it correctly, and it will now work. And now it's just a matter of opening the door. And you
The
open the
honors
door.
are all yours.
You open the door. There's a bit of a groan of metal for a moment, and the door snaps open and then stops, frozen. It's open maybe 2 feet, and then it seems to kind of grind to a stop, and then you can power it down again so that you're not forcing it to go. And it's open for the moment, and there's still power to the terminal, but it doesn't appear to have opened all the way. But it's opened enough if you decide you're going to step through.
I gotta, right?
And as Vilra chooses to step through the door, we're going to stop there and take our break, and we'll be back very shortly. Thank you. The 4 of you in the tunnel, having utilized your found fuse into the fuse box that someone has rewired, repaired, for the purpose of opening this long sealed blast door. Power restored to the terminal, which 2 Pint was able to activate, and the fuse did its job and flared just long enough for the blast door to slam open but then freeze and stop. It struggled. 2 Pint kills the power. The blast door is open but frozen for the moment. And 2 Pint, understanding how fragile old technology can be, having been constructed of fragile old technology themselves, checks. 2 Pint, the fuse still works. The fuse will work one more time.
Alright. This is a kind of a well, it's not a one and done, but it's a two and done. So it's now and then kind of we close it back up and that's it. So
Gotcha.
Okay, so
All
you
right.
wise.
Well, kind of peering into the dark. Anybody
Vilra's
got a
not
light?
afraid. Vilra is going to step through.
Yes, she is. Does she have like a headlamp kind of thing that she could wear?
Absolutely.
Okay. I also think I
You've got a
have.
head-mounted glow rod that you can strap on,
Mhm.
which will illuminate the very, very dark hallway that lies beyond the door. Is everybody following inside?
Right
Yeah.
behind you.
Yeah, I think that once they're out of the main corridor, Tanal will kind of slug her off of her arm and just kind of hold it in both hands. All right.
Vilra, there is a curtain that obscures the hall, a hall which has smooth metal floor and rough-hewn walls. The curtain is not fabric. It is cabling that has been stripped from the ceiling, brackets running along, and dropped down, and you can see it has been stripped and cut and scavenged. And you have to part the cabling to walk through to continue down the hall.
She would part it, walk through, and then hold it for everyone.
Thanks.
All right, let's keep going.
I don't
Two
think
Two
we're
Pint
in here
has
alone.
their own little bulb that they can flash on for dark work.
I can cover the back. So we got light up ahead, light where people are putting their feet.
I don't know
There's
about you, but-
debris on the floor, old cargo containers. Some of the containers you can see faded. The symbol of the Republic. More cabling descending from the ceiling, spools of salvaged cabling spooled up roughly on the floor where it was dropped. Continuing on. And then the hallway seems to end in an opening. There doesn't appear to be a door. And there seems to be a larger, very dark space beyond.
I don't know about you guys. I got a bad feeling about this.
I don't have any feelings about, and that's nerve-wracking because I usually have a lot of
You got
feelings.
big ones normally,
Yeah.
yeah. Huh. Well, it's not gonna get any lighter in here.
Oh,
Roll your perceptions.
Ooh, exploded.
Nice explosion.
I also
Exploded
exploded.
Oh.
Nice. Got a 13.
7.
19.
23.
Two Pint, the hall as you recede, there's just ambient light coming in through the crack of the blast door, which is now almost out of sight as you have rounded the corner in this rough, rock-hewn tunnel with these smooth, plated floors. Tanal, the slug thrower always gives you a bit of comfort. When you're hunting, when you're exploring, when you're alone at night in the plains. But the plains also have night sounds, which you are familiar with, which you understand. Hear the scuffing of booted feet, the disturbance of cabling as you brush past it. There's no sound here. There's no wind here. Vilra, as your headlamp illuminates across, you see shelves, more containers, a table with all sorts of components and things on it. a lot of what's in here seems to be covered in a layer of dust and settlement. And your headlamp craning across the darkened room. And then you pause and you bring the light back. And hanging on a rack, sitting there, is a bandolier covered in droid tools.
I smile and walk over, get up.
It smells like the Wookiee.
Yeah. Either he
There
was
are-
here or these were taken from him and brought here. She says that turning to the group. What was missing?
And as Vilra picks up the bandolier, Gila, you stand off to one side and you can see a winking light on a wall. And you can see there's a control panel. And you can see it is a lighting console. And it appears to have power.
They go over and start fiddling, clickety-clacketing, as it were, to get the lights on. I'm also want to check to see if there's any like sort of security protocol, something like warn.
It's
Good.
just a lighting console in this case.
Okay.
But
Then
you start
click.
smacking controls, and after a moment, jung, 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 as lights come on inside the cavern. And Tanal, as you stand in the darkness, holding on to your slug thrower, staring into nothingness, hearing nothing. The lights come on. And 1 second while I add what you see, because I thought I had done that. 2 seconds.
What horrid, wretched thing are you about to show me on Roll20? What horrid,
know.
wretched thing? I'm so afraid.
Funny that
It's a big table full of pastries
Mm-hmm.
and a sign
Oh.
that says "Not full of poison. Totally eat them."
Everybody in town jumps
Nice.
out and says, "Surprise! Your
Yay!
birthday!"
My only weakness.
a little impromptu GMing on the fly.
So another fun fact about elephants is that they have more muscles in their trunk than the human has in their body.
That's cool.
I know. Wild.
Is it just a lot of little ones?
I guess, yeah. Probably. I mean, yeah. They have like 10,000 plus.
And while
Wow.
I load this up, Yang Yang, you can bring up, please, the image of the hangar. And the lights come on, and you see a craft sitting in a hangar right in front of you.
Pictures.
What
take pictures.
is? Oh. Do I recognize? Me, the human guy, recognizes this. Would Tanal recognize this?
Anybody who's ever spent any time on broadcast day listening to the Republic updates of the many battles, many victories, and many setbacks of the Clone Wars absolutely recognizes a Republic dropship when you see one.
Oh.
Bilber, like, immediately goes to it and tries to get in it.
Open.
Does
Just be
it?
careful.
Yeah. Is it dusty?
It is, except for the places where someone's been removing deck plates, running wire, reconnecting components. Deck plates that have been removed all the way from the engine at the back to the cockpit at the front.
Could I tell by what's missing what they were trying to do?
Yeah. Someone's been repairing it. Someone's been getting it ready to fly.
Can I tell if
And
they're close?
I'm going to get you to roll a Starship Repair roll.
I have
Remembering that
that.
you can always choose to spend a character point before we discover if you're successful in that roll.
You know what? I'm going to.
Well, roll your Starship Repair first, and
Okay.
then yeah, you can see what you get, and then decide if you want to add an extra die, which will explode just like your wild die will if you come up a 6. And if it comes up a 1, remember to tell me that too.
Mm-hmm. It didn't. It came up a 5. So it's a 15 total.
Okay. And are you gonna add a character point to that and roll an extra d6?
Yeah, I think I am.
Okay.
And it
Use 'em or lose
explodes.
'em.
So that's 21. 27. So it exploded again. It exploded again. So can I stop? Because we're now in up to we're over 30 now.
We're over heroic territory.
Yeah. She desperately wants to know.
Vilra, describe what your friends see as your almost panicked excitement takes over you.
Vilra had turned her light off on her forehead when the lights came on. She immediately turns it back on, adjusts her tool belt. Like, her eyes have gone wide. You're not sure if she has blinked at all. And she is ignoring everyone, everything. It has gone wildly quiet for her. Like, you'll hear a mumble every now and then, but she's not like, normally she'd be like, oh my gosh, this is exciting. Look at this. I know what that is. This is really, and she has gone silent and is like on her hands and knees, crawling like back and forth, like looking at the wires, at the wiring, and making notes of this and that, and then getting up and then scrambling to the end and then kind of opening up the thing and just going, yes. And then just like walking back and then crawling again and looking down and like flashing her light into place. Like, it just very much in her element in a way that you have not seen in a while or ever. Who knows? But it's a very intense, different version of her.
Your Aktochi friend seems obsessed, poring over every square meter of the ship. What are the rest of you doing?
I think that where Vilra is very like frantic, poring over every inch of this thing, I think that Tanal is focused in a similar way, but very different from how she usually is. It's very slowed. I think that she's kind of just Slugger at her side, taking a minute to do a lap around the ship, running her hands over the side. And do I see any, like, I know that sometimes these dropships are covered in, like, graffiti or little things, you know, clones inscribing their designation or their nicknames on it somewhere, some sort of indication that this was theirs. Do I see anything like that to tell me?
Roll your perception for me.
Okay.
Or your search, I should say, if you have search under
I do
perception.
not, so it's just perception. That's okay.
Make sure to include your wild die, and remember, if you choose,
will.
you could add a character point to this roll after you roll and see what you come up as.
Okay. I'm gonna add a character die because why not? Why not? Let's do a character point. Let's go crazy. Come on. All right. That is a total of. Can I do math? Maybe. 14.
I'll tell you what you see in a moment.
Okay.
Gila, do you go inside the ship or do you stay outside?
I do go inside the ship. I'm going to look at basically the comms. I want to see if there's like a navigation that says like where the navigation log. I'm looking to see where this came from, how it got here, information along that lines of where did this come from.
Roll your search.
Beautiful. Strong. That's sweet. That is a 15.
The reason I had to ask you to roll a search is because it's not clear where communications or where the nav computer is, because in the cockpit, entire gauges and panels are gone or missing. Someone stripped this before someone else perhaps tried to start rebuilding it. You don't seem to find a comm terminal. You do find a nav computer. As Vilra realizes there's a nav computer. As Vilra realizes there are environmental seals on the doors. This is a Republic dropship. Republic dropships don't have hyperdrives. They are carried in capital ships from system to system and make a brief deep space drop flight before getting into atmosphere and taking their troops to the battlefield. But a ship with a nav computer has a hyperdrive. And to have a hyperdrive, you need to have environmental seals. So this dropship is hyperdrive capable.
How close to it being ready to go into hyperdrive?
You realize that there is not just cabling running from outside the ship inside, providing temporary power. There's also a fuel umbilical running to a wall. And when you go over to the wall and check with your driven focus now, and you can see that there is a fuel gauge that is now visible because the lights are on in the hangar, and there's still fuel in the tanks.
Are any of the parts that I was requested to get something that would be used in the repair or maintenance of this craft?
Only a Republic fuse that fits in an old style fuse box. You see what you don't see the communications console, Gila. You're not sure if it has it or if it's even working. But what you do see is something else. Not scratches and bent metal from damage from salvagers ripping apart control panels and cockpit facades. You see blackened, burnt carbon scoring. See it there, and then you see it up there on the roof of the cockpit, and you see some more on that deck plate on the floor. Do you know what carbon scoring comes from?
Comes from intense heat.
But really focused, small patches of it could also come from blaster fire.
Is there any way for me to investigate and see if I can tell the difference if this is definitively blaster fire, if this has been caused by some other source of heat?
Roll your investigation.
Beautiful.
And remember that you can add a character point to add an extra die if you don't think that your roll is enough.
Okay. I'd like to add a character die. So that's a 20.
If there had been a fire, Gila, it would be localized. It would be a concentrated point that might have spread to other parts of the ship. But the wiring isn't burnt. The leather, what's left of the fabric of the seats, isn't burnt. But the pinpoint scoring of carbon is in the cockpit, it's in the access gangway, it's on the ceiling, and as you start to follow them down, you can see them going all the way back to the engine room. And as you are looking at the ceiling, so too is Tanal. And right above the door, you can see the markings, the head count. You can see small emblazoned droid heads stacked one after another, racking up kills. And as you step forward looking, now that you can see with the light, your foot kicks something at your feet. And as you look down, Yang Yang, if you want to pull up that helmet image, and I'm going to share that with everybody right now, you see that at your feet.
The coloring recognizable in terms of like distinguishing rank or battalion or legion.
Can roll your law enforcement or your bureaucracy. Law enforcement will have a lower difficulty than bureaucracy under knowledge.
I don't have either of those, so I'm just going to use a flat.
Roll your knowledge and make sure one of them includes your wild die.
Okay.
I think that Tanal stoops to pick it up and just is holding it in both of her hands, looking into the visor.
16.
Gila knows enough to know that most standard clone troopers wore white helmets with some colored striping to denote their company or division or battalion. Black colored armor typically would denote, at the minimum, maybe a specialist, and just as likely, maybe some sort of special forces, some sort of commando.
Right.
Tanal, whoever was working on this ship, for whatever reason, it's like they took an arc welder to the front of the helmet and melted it from the outside.
Oh.
And as you hold it in your hand, tilting it slightly, there's a blinking light inside.
Is there a button I can press as I kind of fiddle with this?
It looks like there's a set of mouth controls for somebody wearing the helmet.
Yeah, I think that she kind of examining it a little bit, blowing some of the dust off of it, is gonna very quickly, before she can think too much about it, just put it on, try to access the controls.
Inside, a blackened viewplate that's almost opaque due to all the dust and corrosion on it, and then perfect vision as you stare out through the massive hole in the side of the helmet, and you can see your friends there. Vilra's sitting in the pilot's chair. Controls, consoles, checking everything out, talking to herself, talking to all of you, talking in a language that you can barely keep up with as she rattles off various starship components, status ports, fuel levels. Gila counting the blaster scoring. It's difficult to keep count and not lose her place because there's so many. And Two Pint taking in just one more piece of technology, but one that the little droid has never encountered before. And using an old tongue switch, you flick something on. And Tanal, this is what you hear.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
And the last of the power in the helmet fades and the blinking light fades out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's about. Well, I think that Tanal very quickly takes the helmet off. Um, can I or and see if there's
Can you say that one more time?
sorry, I think I froze for a minute. Just taking this off and looking at it again. Can I see if this trooper's designation is anywhere on the helmet or any indication of what company they belong to?
There would be a little monogrammed one, yes. And it would come up as CT 2616.
261. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Not what I expected. Okay. Okay. I'm normal. It's fine. Um
Tanal, what are you feeling right now?
Oh, what isn't she feeling? I think that right now Tanal is kind of lost in thought and has this very far away look in her eyes that I don't think she gets very often. You know, you have to be constantly kind of on alert with her family, with taking care of livestock, but just in this moment, she's a million miles away. She's full of just grief and starting very like low in her stomach, this sort of fiery rage that is always there, but usually she can keep a bit of a lid on it, flares up a little bit inside of her chest, and I think that her hands start to shake.
Gila, what are you
Um,
feeling right now?
I think there's a mixture of like excitement of Gila is one for puzzles, one for following the threads. There's a piece of excitement, but there is also, as the pieces are beginning to align in their head, a worry. There's a big piece missing that they don't know. And kind of looking around the room and seeing how their different friends are reacting, they look over to Tanal and definitely feel like a sadness is in their head. They feel like they've connected some dots. Um, they too know what that feels like, but in this moment are frustrated because they do not know how to communicate or to soothe them.
Vilra, your trance is interrupted with a sudden realization. You're sitting in the cockpit, you can't see your friends. But Gila is sad and very worried, and Tanal is very angry. You can feel that anger without even seeing her face.
I think Vilra was in like trance. and was getting kind of anxious because she's formulating all these questions in her head and is not finding any logical answers to them or even half-assed answers to them. And just sort of going over these questions and what could this mean and what could that mean and what could this mean and what could that mean? And then those feelings, and then just I think you see her like whip around in the chair because clearly something has happened to her friends and she wants to sort of diagnose that. Like it has like snapped her out of it. Um and looks at Gila and looks at Tanal. What happened?
Um, Nothing. It's just
You're so upset.
I'm yeah, I it's complicated. It's really, really complicated. But I just is there anything about who landed the ship here? And why? Do we know?
There like a port I could. Oh, I don't know if. Never mind. You wouldn't have that feature.
The
Pretty-
Scomp link?
Yeah.
Two Pint doesn't have a Scomp link? How does Two Pint download their
You would
instructions for the day?
does have one. Is there one that 2 can link to on the ship?
On the ship, there is not, but
Okay.
on the wall near the lighting panel, there's a larger control panel for the hangar. Yes, there is. You might get some information from that.
2 seeing all of his friends have emotional reactions that are wildly different from the other, is gonna go to computers where computers don't have feelings, computers make sense, and is gonna go try and find some answers to these questions. And we'll hook up to a.
Binary is never angry. Binary is never sad. Binary is just true. I need you, Two Pint, to roll your computer program repair for me, please. As
Absolutely.
you power up a very old data terminal.
Okay. Explode.
Oh, this group!
Okay. Oh gosh, this is so many numbers. Okay. 26.
26.
Makes up for all the like under 10s I've been rolling for my perceptions.
The data logs are all with Republic date and timestamps on them, not Imperial. This data terminal hasn't been accessed or updated in 10 years. The hangar doors haven't been opened in 10 years. And when you realize that and you swivel your viewfinder over to see that all the way down this oval-shaped hangar with rocky walls and smooth floor, there's another massive hangar door at the far end.
Duh.
There is a series of technical updates, but it doesn't seem that there's a record of this matching any records that you've ever had access to, of which you've had a lot of years, of the Salichet Ag Corp. This hangar was not run by the Salichet Ag Corp. They don't have their binary fingerprints anywhere on this. There's no flight path. There's no cargo manifest. There's nothing to indicate that this ship was expected here. But it's here. But there is a
Well-
final entry. And it's encoded. But it's an old code and an old computer. And 2 Pint is very fast. And a pretty swift processor for such a small droid. Pretty big processing power for such a small droid. And you can see that there's a single final communication that came in on the terminal. And it simply states, special orders. All Republic commandos. Execute Order 66. And that's the final entry on the terminal.
Well, it's been here for a while. That's what I can tell you.
How long is a while?
10 years.
Okay. We can't tell anybody that we found this. Like, we can't tell anybody.
What did you find? That
It's just-
helmet.
It's just, it's... Look, okay, everybody knows that at the end of the war, I don't know, the line was that the Jedi betrayed the Republic and had to all be wiped out. But they it was gonna be real hard for them to convince the clones that they served with for months and years to pull that particular trigger. So there was a code. I had never heard it before in person. Kind of sorry, it shook me a bit.
No. You're so... Go on.
Can I trust you guys?
Yeah.
Kind of turns
Absolutely.
to Gila. This is off the record. Off the record. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but 10 years ago is around the time that my dad, technically my stepdad, arrived on Salashay. And, well, there's a reason he doesn't leave the farm. And it's not because he's that fond of it. You guys never noticed the resemblance? Yeah. Yeah, his call sign was CT4138. Obviously that kind of had to go when he got here.
Oh.
His friends used to call him Flex.
This is huge.
This Look, this has nothing to do with him. I don't know if this is how he got here. I don't know if any of this can be. If this was his, then obviously he parked it in a hangar that nobody was using, hoping that nobody would ever find it, and obviously somebody else did, and that's got nothing to do with us.
Well, I mean, whoever's this is, there's not a lot of information about where it came from or any real details in the computer, so I mean, it's not from here. That much is very clear, but there's no names or locations filed as far as I can tell with what I just looked.
Yeah.
We have audio proof that the Emperor used that term. We have proof that the Jedi have been betrayed.
We no. We don't have proof of anything because nobody can see this. Nobody can see this. I'm sorry. I know that the truth is a big deal to you, and if there's anything that is here that can help us figure out what happened to your mom, then I think that we should find it, and we should try to focus on that. Try to figure out what was going on with that, but
And who would believe us anyway?
yeah.
Just a bunch of kids in a crappy farm town.
It's not crappy all the time.
Where the truth comes from doesn't matter. Everybody makes a difference.
Yeah, but that's not reality. No one cares about us. No one's gonna believe us. Truth is great. But people care where it comes from.
What are you feeling right now, Vilra?
Anxious, scared, confused. And now she's mad at herself for lashing out at her friend. We shouldn't have come in here.
Are you gonna leave,
But we
Vilra?
did.
Yeah, I think she's gonna step out of the ship. Come on, we should go. I have to deliver these parts. And we're pretending like we never found this anyways, right?
Can't do that.
We have to.
You have to. I don't.
Right. Let's take a moment and think this through before anyone goes making decisions.
Once is a pattern. I mean, once is a coincidence, twice is a pattern. All these things are connected. I can feel it.
Look, I made you a promise that I was going to help figure out whatever happened, and I'm going to stand by that. All right, but we got to be careful. The wrong person gets a look at this. They start scouring the hills for deserting clones. They're going to find one.
They're already upset about deserting miners. Can't imagine what they do. We're expendable.
But we're not. You're not. To you contains value. We make up the Republic. We are the Republic. The words that what we know, that can change things.
The Republic's
Great.
still here, Tanal?
No. No, the Republic died a long time ago.
And what happens when people disappear, Vilra? Does anyone care?
No, they don't.
Are you leaving, Vilra?
Yeah. I'll help. I think she looks to Jila and goes, I'll help you look at the cylinder and I'll do whatever you want. I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to go give Rawara his droid bandolier back and pretend I found it outside the shop because I don't want to be another missing person.
Vilra has a bandolier and a lot of emotion, and she's walking towards the blast door.
Don't wait. We can only use it once. If we have to all go together in case it closes, so no one gets.
Let's
Or we should go out.
at least
Fine.
finish poking around in here if we can only be in here once. See if there's anything
I'm
else, any indication as to who's fixing this thing up.
I'm gonna very quickly grab the audio on my recording device and take a quick video of what I have seen on my rod, and I'm gonna put that away. I have what I need.
Is there a way to like remotely download the files from this computer?
Mm-hmm.
Snag.
Absolutely.
Do I know anyone that would have the knowledge to do these types of repairs?
You know two people. One is Uncle Krim, but you don't see Uncle Krim anymore. And the other is in the repair bay right now, swearing at droids. Rolwara has taught you everything you know about repairing repulsors, droids, terminals. Rolwara is an excellent mechanic. And one time, a war hero. Do you leave the lights on or do you turn them off when you leave?
I think we should turn them off. We don't want whoever comes here to know that someone else was here.
Right.
Okay.
Vilra, you head out?
Yeah. Once everyone's ready to leave.
Tanal's
Yeah.
lingering. She feels a purpose to searching a little bit more. Gila's reluctant, but seems torn between wanting to discover the truth, and Two Pint is finishing up downloading data files from the hangar terminal. And you step out back into the cool air, bit of a mist from the river below of the tunnel, and the steam vents coming through, and it's stale and old, but it's familiar. It's reassuring almost compared to where you just were. And you feel yourself exhaling, and that fear subsides slightly. And then you hear the sound of the crew lift descending back down to the tunnel floor.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. We gotta do this now, now.
Rush.
Okay.
Tall is rushing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not getting trapped in here. No, thank you.
Mm-mm. Take the
2 Pint will
fuse.
try and be the
I'm not
last
leaving
one
you.
out.
2 Pint comes out, takes a long moment for 2 Pint to finish the download, but 2 Pint gets back out. You're all back on the catwalk now, next to the platform. Activate the control panel.
Mm-hmm.
Reverse it. The blast door closes. There's a bit of a grind again as it's fighting against frozen gears and hydraulics. And then there's a spark and a flash as the fuse blows. And then the pedestal terminal returns to gloominess as all the lights go out.
Can 2 Pint quick reach in and grab the burnt out fuse like out of it?
Yes?
Grab that, stuff it in my tummy.
Yes. And your cargo containers will still be sitting here on the catwalk that you had brought down with you. Do you take those with you? They're going to slow you down a little bit.
Yeah, we need them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if anything, we just took a break to set them down, breathe, and
On
going.
on our way up, I'm going to break my lens against the side of the thing. So the alibi, if we do get caught, is I was down here getting my lens that I dropped.
Your which, sorry?
My lens on my camera.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Steam has filled the tunnel again. It's difficult to see, but you hear a voice call out. Who's there? Identify. And then you hear, and booted feet start running your way.
Bilra steps forward. Big ol' smile, her usual self. I think you all know her well enough that she is forcing this smile. It is not reaching her eyes. It is, hi, it's Vilra. I was just bringing some stuff back to the repair bay. My friends were with me. Can we help you?
You see the two Salichet Agricorp security guards who have done their patrol all the way to the top and are coming back through. They jog up and then stop. And they see you all there. They've got batons on their belts. They don't carry blasters. One of them's quite young. The one of them's a little bit older, the seasoned one. We heard something heavy falling. And he's like looking around. He's looking at the roof, looking at the pipe, looking at the decking, looks at the catwalk and the door, but he's looking to see what could have made that noise.
Apologies, that would have been my camera lens.
That was too loud for a camera lens. What kind of equipment are you carrying down here?
Well, we had to
Okay.
set all of our things down. We kind of dropped it, and then we were searching and shuffling. And it echoes in here. I mean, really bad.
Why do you have a camera in the tunnel? This is for mining crew loading and unloading only.
Carry it with me. I do a personal paper. I'm a photographer and a journalist.
It's true.
I pull out my like my data pad and my like press pass from when I was younger, and like my camera, and see clearly that the thing is broken.
The seasoned one comes over and he's looking at that for a moment, looking to see if it's some kind of legitimate credential and taking a moment to study it. And the younger one's standing there, kind of looking at 2 Pint and Tanal and Vilra, and well, what's in the crate?
Parts.
Parts for what?
The repair bay.
Kinda 2 Pint will kind of float into their line of sight and be like, for droids like me that are getting a little rough around the edges there.
Yeah. 2 Pints with us because I'm bringing him to the repair bay as well because I don't know. It's just I like to give back to the community by helping fix up the droids that help the community looking.
He
Not
doesn't
a
seem to
lie.
register what you mean by 2 Pint, and he takes a step forward. The younger one takes a step forward and he says, "Droid, come over here. Let's see your operating number."
Kinda floats over and very casually, like, routine, kinda, like, drops any of the persona and 2P1NT.
This isn't a Press. This is a Egg Corp press release badge. They haven't used these in 10 years. Well, what is it that you're all doing down here? Look, if you're taking parts to the repair bay, you need to be going the other direction. But what are you doing down here? What's your name? And he looks right at Gila. Tanal. No one's really paying attention to you at the moment,
No
despite
one's
the fact that you're the only one carrying a slug thrower over your shoulder.
That's crazy.
The,
Wow.
the young
Yeah.
one is trying to find the blemished, scarred out, painted over designation on 2 pints shell,
Mm-hmm.
and the older one is chewing out Gila for fraudulent credentials.
Mm-hmm.
Can I make it just a little bit harder on the young one and kind of like float around a little
You
bit,
can
like off
just
balance?
keep slowly spinning, forcing him to take a step. Take a step.
Perfect.
Just hold still. Just hold it. Hold still for a moment. Would you just
Right,
hold
yep.
still? I need you to hold still.
This is why I gotta go to the repair bay, clearly.
Oh my gosh. I think that Sonal has a like she's just still a little bit shell shocked from everything that she saw inside of that place, and oh god. Oh jeez. Oh gosh, guys.
Vilra's called out her name, but they don't yet know everyone else's. A droid
No, they
designation,
don't.
they'd be lucky to remember that by the time they got to the end of the hallway. But
Mm-hmm.
they don't know who Gila is, and they don't know who you are yet.
Nope.
And
They
Vilra
don't.
is standing very close to Gila, very
Mhm.
much like if you even slightly mess with her, my weak noodle arms are going to be so up in your grill.
Oh my gosh.
Now, you can let
Um
Gila continue her conversation, but I'm just letting you know that no
yeah.
one for the moment is paying attention to Tanal.
Yeah. Oh guys. Oh, this is a lot of pressure. I think I don't know. I'm gonna need a group consensus.
What
Are
is
we
Tanal?
down to make
What
this
is what
crazy?
is Tanal feeling right now? What is
I
her?
think that Tanal is feeling a lot of like that rage and that aggression and that frustration that before was kind of very like sourceless, which was honestly even more frustrating to her to kind of be in that space and not have anywhere that she could direct
Impotent
it.
range.
Now,
Yeah, impotent
yeah,
rage.
like she's kind of looking at these two guys who are hassling her friends, and suddenly that rage has a direction. Um, and so, okay, we're in this. Okay, we're down. There's like mist. There's steam. Are there any like am I'm thinking about using my slugger to try to shoot one of the pipes to hopefully create like a blast of steam and just blind everybody so we can get the fuck out of here. Do I think
There's steam pipes running the length of the tunnel.
Yep, absolutely. Then just kind of very slowly, like she kind of has been like fiddling with her slugger on her shoulder, like she's adjusting it, kind of very, very slowly, kind of will take aim, and when no one is looking at her, fire.
Vilra, you can, without even seeing Tanal's face, you can feel that anger. You can feel that frustration. You can feel it being focused. It's a little tempting to want to join that moment. All of your own frustration, all of the fear you just felt. You don't have to be afraid. You could be angry, like Tanal gets angry. And when Tanal gets angry, people often get hurt. And it's not usually her.
I think she just snaps the little badge out of his hand, gives it back to Gila, like we're going to drop things off at the repair bay. Please let us do that.
And as you say that, a loud shot rings out in the tunnel. It hurts everybody's ears. Nobody's wearing protection. A blast of steam blankets the catwalk. Everybody. It's hot. It's damp. It almost burns you, but everyone's reaction to get out of the way is there. You have your moment. You can choose to act. Tell me what you're doing.
How? I think that Tanal immediately goes for one of the crates and is gonna try to just grab it and start heading
Tanal's
for the
running.
exit.
Tanal is running. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm running as well.
Gila's running. Two pint.
2 pint is did the your tablet did they take like the tablet and stuff when you were showing your credentials? I know we grabbed the badge back, but are they holding anything of ours?
No.
Right.
It was just that piece that Gila was showing, and that's what Vilra snatched out of his hand, which he turned to look at her with this incredulous look, which he doesn't get enough time to register a response before the entire catwalk is blanketed in steam.
Perfect. Then
And it's just pouring out, like rapidly pouring out because of the damage to the pipe now.
perfect. Then yeah, 2 pint is gonna do a very loose aim of paint like at their eyes and then run. Like spray them in the eyes and get out of there.
Make a dexterity roll.
Okay, I would love to. How many dice do I use for dexterity? Okay. 6 plus 5 is 11.
The older one shouts, "Look out!" as the steam comes down. The younger one doesn't see it coming because he's been busy staring at 2 Pint's chassis the entire time. And then, because he's so close to him, you just nozzle up and you just get him in the face with the paint, and he cries out and stumbles backwards, and you'll hear him clattering to the deck plates as he does, crying out for his eyes.
Getting
2
out of
Pints
there.
gone. 2 Pints gone. Vilra? Steam has engulfed everything. Your friends are running. The 2 men are crying out in confusion and pain. Where are they? Where are you? Are you all right? Don't let them go. All the usual panicked responses that they have lost control of the situation rapidly.
What direction did my friends run? Are they going like
They're going to town.
So into town, that's the direction I would also need to go.
Yes.
It's hard because I said my name. I said where I was going. She does not run. She's going to stay behind. And act confused and grab some of the paint and rub it on her eyes. Fall to the ground.
2 Pint, you see, because the other 2 are running. Tanal's got the crate. They're farther ahead. 2 Pint, you can see that Vilra's making a different call. Do you help her, impede her, or do you leave her to make her choice? Your vocabulator
Buddy, your
is
mic.
turned
In
off again.
times of trouble, a group split 2 ways is better than a group split with people all over. So I'm gonna stay. 2 Pint will see that they're 2 of them are getting out of there, and he's gonna turn and pretend to run into tunnel walls and just kind of bounce back along towards Vilra as if they are also disoriented and confused, just going, "Ow, ow, gosh, ha."
You could also use the Gila maneuver. You do have a tow cable.
Ah. Yeah, I think just gonna.
But you choose. You can flee, you can come back and stay and feign malfunction, or you can choose a third way. Because 2 Pint is a very independent little droid.
Yeah.
And 2 Pint knows the difference between mischief and crime.
Yeah. And 2 Pint doesn't know why they are the way that they are, but they're committing to it, and they're gonna make sure that no one's out there alone, and so it's gonna bumble and pretend to malfunction and stay behind to help Gila and hopefully cover for the other two to escape and get out of there. And bumble about.
When
In
you
the
reach the end
meantime-
of the tunnel, Tanal and Gila, do you keep running down the ramp and through the Egg Corp yard? Or do you walk?
I mean, I think we have to walk. I think we have to walk.
You get to the end of the tunnel and you turn around and you can hear steam venting deep in the tunnel. And
Yes.
there's a bit of a foggy mist deep down that you can see.
Mm-hmm.
And no one is with you. The two of you are alone.
I think Tanal kind of leans in and is like, we have to stash this, because if we get caught with this right now, we are all going. So, kind of shoulders back, relaxed again, kind of once again getting that very confident, casual expression, very casual smile. So we're gonna take a walk.
Okay.
All right.
Walk down the ramps, over the waterfall, down through
Mhm.
the egg yard. The guards make note of you. They don't interfere with you. They don't ask
Yeah.
you any questions. Pass through the egg yard into the marketplace. It's midday. The market's busy. Trading, people eating, everybody gathering their supplies.
Mhm. Kind
You
of
see Mila sitting at a cafe in the market at the far side. She hasn't seen you yet.
Oh, she's gonna kill me.
Or you can take the bridge and get across to the homesteads and get out of sight.
Oh, she might be able to help, but she'll kill me. I will be murdered. Oh my gosh, my mom will leave me dead in a ditch. Ugh. I think, oh. I think that knowing how much shit she might have just stepped in and knowing how much trouble she might be in, I think that she thinks that now is not the time to be worried about getting in trouble with her aunt and is more concerned about getting in trouble with the Empire. So I think we'll kind of nudge Gila a bit and start heading over towards her aunt.
Mila doesn't need to speak to you. She can see it in your face.
Mm-hmm.
She gets up. She throws some credits on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks. Are you hurt?
No.
And she looks at the crate, which she recognizes. She's like, this needs to go. And
Yeah,
she
I
starts
know.
hustling you over the bridge.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
And she looks to Gila. She says, you got a place?
Huh, what? Um, yeah, yeah. Follow me. Gonna take him to her house.
By the time you cross the bridge, there's a bit of a commotion in the egg yard, and men are running up the ramp.
Yep.
You run past the ruins of the community garden. Vima's Auntie Vim's there with her pots, stirring up some soil and planting a few new flowers, and she just kind of her eyes just come up right away, and she just kind of watches you as you hustle on past. You get to Gila's homestead, open the door, get inside. Door closes. It goes from chaos and noise to quiet and eerie calm. And that's where we're going to leave episode 2 of Quadrilateral. I have been your game master, Jason Collins. You can find me online at Blue Sky at Digital Collins and the site formerly known as Twitter at digital_Collins. You can find my bibliography on Linktree at digital_Collins, including the link to my fantasy comic Kickstarter, Thistle Issue 1, which is coming in 2024. Barnaby, tell them where they can find you.
Hi, I'm Barnaby. I use they them pronouns. You can find me at that's_Barnaby literally everywhere on the internet, baby. Yeah, thanks for having me.
My name is Mara. You can find me in the internet. I live inside of the internet at College of Lore Dropout or just Lore Dropout. And you can find me talking about books and nerd stuff on some websites where I write about my thoughts and on Starlight Tale.
Hi, I'm Diana. You can find me most places on the internet at Sapphic Stregonona or just Sapphic Strega, or at least for the next week, being so afraid of my mom. Oh God, I'm in so much trouble. Thank you.
Hi, my name is May. I am maybe Mayhem on the internet, wherever you want to find me. And hopefully I'll be back next week and not in prison or something. So keep your fingers crossed. I hope. I'd like to stick around. So
Thank you for spending time with us today, and we invite you to return next Monday for the next episode of Quadrilateral. I know all of these people are going to be there, which is a Star Wars the role-playing game actual play. We wish all our spacers and scoundrels safe skies, and may the Force be with you.